everybody, and welcome along to Connecticut, to Lime Rock Park. We're just about a couple of hours north of New York. Lovely drive up here earlier on in the week. 1.47 miles, 7 corners, big bend, turns 1 and 2, down the Sam Posey Straight, slaying it up the inside if you want to try and make a position. Then hang on for the rest of the lap. In the WeatherTech Championship, we'll be using the chicane cut out at turn 5, and from there you start coming downhill through West Bend at turn 6 and then diving down to turn 7. We've seen some passes made there on the inside already this weekend, but you're trying to edge a little bit of an advantage to get an extra mile, an hour or two down through the final corner and onto the Sam Posey Straight. Completely empty pit lane reported by Shea Adam, who is our voice, our eyes and ears in the pit lane for this WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. And Jeremy Shaw is alongside me, John Hindorf. We did have a bizarre rain shower about, what, 3/4 of an hour to an hour ago, Jeremy, but I don't think that's going to have affected the track surface and the grip levels too much at all, because it's been very hot since then and it's pretty much evaporated.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, wasn't it? All of a sudden it started pouring down, but yeah, it didn't last here very long at all. And right now the track is perfectly dry and we're ready to go racing.
We should say thank you to all of the sports car enthusiasts who've turned out from Connecticut and further afield. We've met a few of them who've come in from quite a long way away and are braving these warm conditions. Good to see that they are looking for shaded areas, and there are plenty here. There's a lot of well-developed and mature trees around here. Please keep drinking water this weekend. It's another great illustration of the support for what is a proper racetrack here, Jeremy. Been improved down through the years, particularly in the paddock and infrastructure facilities, but this has a proper feel that the drivers love because they feel they can make a difference here.
Yeah, we're a little bit off the beaten track here. There's nothing really close by here. Certainly, if you're relying on your cell phone, you've got a bit of a problem coming to this place, certainly. But look, it's old school, it's great, and I don't know anybody in this paddock who doesn't enjoy coming to Lime Rock Park. And hats off to Skip Barber and his entire team here for all their enthusiasm and the work just to constantly upgrade the premises just little by little.
So, Jeremy, very tight battles at the front of both of the fields. 2 distinct races here with 8 Works entered cars. So these are manufacturer cars that are run by Works teams at the front of the field. 2 Porsches, a BMW, a Ford, 2 Corvettes, the second Ford and the second BMW, split by, in qualifying, just on about 0.8 of a second. The whole GT Daytona field, Acura, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Lexus, that's the top 5, all different manufacturers before we have the first repeat, which is another Porsche. All the way down the Lamborghini Huracan, split by 3/4 of a second, the top 13 cars on that place. So we're going to have battles all the way through. Now, Porsche keys to the race. Traffic is going to be, obviously, an issue here. Managing the tyres, but also getting the pit stops and the track position right. Those Porsche keys to the race. You can't afford to miss any of the ticks in the boxes here because it's such a short lap, and going 1 or 2 laps down here is going to be nigh on impossible to get back.
Yeah, there's no way, certainly, as competitive the field is. So it is, minimising your mistakes is always a key factor to success in one of these races, and I think particularly so here. But it's just a fun racetrack to go. It's a challenge for the drivers. It's short, it's intense, and hey, you don't see many people not smiling when they're driving the cars around here.
3 pace laps. Shea Adam is down in the pit lane. Nobody left in the pit lane, Shea, but what was the atmosphere like with the teams, particularly at the sharp end of the grid in the championship, as they rolled off to these formation laps?
Nobody's happy with the temperature, John. Everybody is feeling the effects of the heat, despite what Catherine tried to convince us. The biggest thing is that they hope this race stays green, by and large, from a driver comfort point of view, because very little airflow comes through the car when they are behind the safety car. The drivers want it to stay green. The strategists want a little bit of caution to play with.
So Shea Adam will be reporting from the pit lane. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Now, there will be people who say that's not a proper endurance race. I placed before the court the last round at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The flag is in the air. It's green flag, and they cross the line now, and we are racing, and it was a big jump by the Porsches at the front of the field, but not big enough for the second place car. It was Laurens Vanthoor on his first pole position here in the IMSA Championship who jumped away 2 or 3 cars' lengths, but that has left Nick Tandy having to defend from Conor De Filippi in the first of the BMWs.
Yeah, and there's the John Edwards. He was on the grass, so the exit Big Bend, as we see Cooper McNeil also on the grass, the exit left-hander. So dramas there. I think Laurens Vanthoor forgot to send a postcard to Nick Tandy about what he's going to do at the start. Tell you what, he almost overtook the pace car. The pace car was only just pulling into the pit lane as he went past it. It was marginal jump start there for Laurens Vanthoor, but he has made a really good getaway, and he's on the case right away, trying to make a little bit of a breathing space for himself.
Already that's the first lap completed, and it's about a second or a second and a half. No, it's not, it's 4.45 over a second. Well, it looked a bit more than that as they went past us, but I'm sure the clock is better than my eyesight. 3/4 of a second back to the first of the BMWs. Acura holds on to its pole position start from GTD, and Ben Keating, who's been qualifying brilliantly recently, is still there in second position in the 33 wins AMG.
Yeah, 4 times on the front row of the grid for Ben Keating this year. That's pretty stout for a non-professional driver. Really great effort by him, and he's hanging right there. The only change of positions on that first lap was Corey Lewis finding a way past Frankie Montecalvo at the back of the field. Corey Lewis, the car qualified well, but started from the back because it failed the ride height test after qualifying in post-qualifying tech. No one's pulling away though, just nose to tail here, pretty much all the way through the field.
Well, what this will be is like the opening laps of a heavyweight bout with all of the cars and drivers just working their way through these first few laps, settling in. The good news for Laurens Vanthoor is he's got a few laps before he actually hits the back of the traffic. It's a good start from Vanthoor, but not from the second BMW, which has dropped to the back for John Edwards. He's dropped back behind the Ford GT.
He did start at the back, actually.
And he was in 7th, so he's dropped behind the Ford. And that was because he went off at the exit of Big Bend. So he's got a bit of dirt on his Michelin tyres, but he's managed to stay ahead, I think rather crucially, Jeremy, of Trent Hindman in the Acura NSX, because he did not want to get behind one of the fast GT Daytona cars. Here comes the GT Daytona field across the line now. Acura, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Lexus, Porsche, that's your top 6. Not even 4 seconds between those. A little bit of movement on the back end of the 24 car, having been off on the dirt. It's not the end of the world for John Edwards, and he'll know that. Just clean off the Michelin tyres, and he can still actually see the leader as he's going down No Name Straight, and now through the uphill. Once he gets up to the top of the hill, he can still see the leader before he turns in to the West Bend. So he's not lost too much there. In fact, he's pulled back in very nicely to just 0.3 of a second behind Ryan Briscoe. Talking to Ryan's dad, Jeff, in the break between our 2 races today. I said to him, is your boy happy? And Jeff, who's a man of few words but always worth listening to, said, nah. But he's a fighter, is Briscoe, as is the Chip Ganassi team. Dirk Muller a little further up the field, but this whole field in GT Le Mans still only separated by 4 seconds. Very important to look after the tyres here.
New fastest lap there for Laurens Vanthoor in the lead of the race, 51.291 last time around.
And the lap record in the race here is
a 50.7 for Antonio Garcia. That was actually set a couple of years ago. Fastest lap last year was a 50.8 by Nick Tandy in the Porsche. The only guy who didn't improve on that last lap actually was the second place car of Nick Tandy, but I think that's not the case this time. He looks very fast, yeah. There he goes, he set a new fastest lap this time around in Nick Tandy, 51.0. What's interesting, just looking at the split times here, Ryan Briscoe super fast through the first sector here. He's tucked in behind the 2 Corvettes, Antonio Garcia and Oliver Gavin, but the car is particularly quick through the first part of this lap, and now actually a new purple first sector by the other Ford, actually Dirk Mueller. It's interesting.
IMSA Radio and IMSA TV together, live from trackside. Sirius XM here in the US, once again taking the feed, and thanks to them for the loan of their airwaves on what is a busy weekend. Ormond Golf this weekend from Royal Portrush. Some IndyCar and some NASCAR on the XM radio waves this weekend as well. Check your local listings for those if you are suitably equipped. And I know many of you will be tuning in as well, possibly watching the pictures on the NBC Sports app and listening into us here. If you're in the US and listening to the pictures, as off has gone the 48. Now that is Corey Lewis, and he's dropped to the back behind Frankie Montecalvo. That was in the middle of turns 1 and 2, the big bend. And he's just locked up the tyres again on that number 48 teal and black car. So the question will be, did he go off under duress? Was he ushered off, helped up, intimidated off? He was, no, he locked it up right in front of Frankie Montecalvo in the bright yellow car. That looked like the ABS wasn't anti-locking, was it? It was very much locked up, that car, and he might have a flat spot on his Michelin tyres that he's going to have to deal with now. Yeah, if you are, and in fact he's coming straight into the pit lane, so this might be an early change for these guys as he heads to the pit lane. The two Porsches, nose and tail, coming to West Bend, turn 6. Fuel only for that car. They're having a quick look around the tyres. He's going to go a lap down to the race leaders, but if they can turn him round quickly, he might stay on the lead lap of GTD. He's rolling now. It's going to be very tight indeed. He's passed us now. I'm looking to the left. Here comes the leader. Here's Trent. It's going to be awfully close at turn 1. And he's gone a lap down. No, he hasn't. No, he's still ahead. He just filtered out in front of Trent Hinman.
You're right. I'm surprised, actually.
Well, me too. But they've got now at least another 8 laps of fuel, plus the warm-up laps from everybody else. So that's probably another 10, 12 minutes of running. That could become crucial later on. So keep an eye on that number 48. What Corey's got to do now, though, is stay ahead of the leader in GTD and not drop the lead lap. Just a quick point back to what I was going to say. Here in the US, you can watch live if you've got the NBCSN app, but if you're listening to us whilst doing that, I will remind you that there is a full telecast tonight at 9:30 Eastern on tape delay. That'll come after the IndyCar race, and thanks to our NASCAR production team up in Charlotte for making sure that we've got all the pictures down here at the track so that we can see further than out of our window and into the pit lane. They've been working hard this weekend, as have our camera operators on site, all of the volunteer marshals as well, who've had a lot of very, very harsh conditions to put up with. The two Porsches then, Van Teur from Tandy, 3 race wins this year for the 912, 2 for the 911. Connor De Filippi hanging on there, still in sight. And the whole of the GT Le Mans field still only separated by around about 6 seconds.
Just looking at the lap times of the leader, super consistent. 51.18 last time around. The previous lap, 51.16. The previous lap before that was exactly the same, 51.16. 51.04 the lap before that, and 51.16 the lap before. So super consistency at the front. Just be careful not to take too much out of the car at this early stage in the race. With those two Porsches, they're certainly not pulling away from Connor De Filippi. The only gap of more than a second, it's a fraction over a second between Muller in the 66 Ford and Antonio Garcia, and then at the back, John Edwards, he's just dropped a little bit off the back of that train in car number 24.
Hello to Moni and everyone else in the States who are tuned in, listening and or watching on the NBCSN app. Good to have your company today further afield in the UK. It's 8:20 on a Saturday evening. Thank you for spending some time with us. We've got 2.5 hours still to go of this. Settle in, because it's going to be an absolute cracker. Big crowd at the track, big knowledgeable crowd at the track as well. Been fantastic wandering around, having a chat to the supporters of endurance racing who have come here, spent their hard earned. So thanks to all of them who are listening around the circuit on 454 even around the circuit and on the PA system here at Lime Rock Park. The Porsche Flat 6 barks away down to turn number 7. Very shortly we'll be seeing the new iteration of that 911 RSR be out at the WEC Prologue next week. Yes, I know Le Mans just finished, but WEC starting again at Silverstone at the end of August for their new school year type season. Soccer season, really, as it runs from the autumn, the fall time through to the summer. Finishing off again at Le Mans, of course. John Edwards in the BMW, just dropping off the back of the field, maybe on a bit of a fuel-saving area at the moment, as far as his tactics is concerned. But it's Tandy and Vantour for the front of the field. NSX Trent Hinman by 3 seconds.
Corey Lewis, he's doing a good job here. He certainly isn't holding up Trent Hinman. He's almost at the tail end of that lead lap in GTD, but hanging on there in the Carlo 48. He doesn't want to go a lap down at this stage. It's great work by himself to get that car back to the pits without causing any other damage. Then good work by the team to get that tyre changed and get out again without losing a lap.
Let's go down to Shea Adam in the pit lane.
Sounds to me like John Edwards is on a feel-safe mode, because every time he comes just past the flagger stand, he lifts off the throttle, but he's not even coming close to hitting the brakes until about the 3 marker board. So here he goes. There, he lifted. There, the brake lights came on just between the 2 and the 3. So that looks to me as though the 24 BMW is trying to extend this window.
Okay, Shea, we'll keep an eye on that. Meantime, the Porsches continue at the head of the field, first and second. Then it's the BMW, then it's the Ford GT, then the 2 Corvettes. Still only 3.5 seconds back from the lead of those 2 cars. I think Ryan Briscoe and John Edwards actually are trying to do something a little bit different. Down to the diving turn again, turn 7, the downhill. Dylan Murray has joined us in the booth, having just raced earlier on today. How's the track conditions? Well, it's rained since then, but I don't think it's changed that much.
Yeah, it has rained, but you know, this track is so physical, and you get outside, they have all those marbles out on the outside of the track, and you'll see those starting to develop as the race continues and gets more and more. I mean, you go out there, you set 2 feet too far to the outside of a corner, and I mean, those marbles are like ice. It's very, very rough track out there right now. It's very hot. All these drivers are going to be tested to their physical limitations, and I was just in the race here a couple hours ago with the Michelin Pilot Challenge with Riley Motorsports, and it was very physical out there. It was, I mean, 90 degrees, 140 degrees in the cockpit. Insane.
It's a workout. Hey, you can't put one of the men of the moment in IMSA at the moment, Dylan. You've won races both in the Michelin Pilot Challenge and in the Prototype Challenge over the last month or so. It's been a really good last month or 6 weeks for you.
Yes, it's been excellent. You know, we just like to continue that momentum going into Road America in 2 weeks. And I mean, you can see our teammate Riley Motorsports in the Wins Mercedes out there right now with Ben Keating. He's doing a phenomenal job. I mean, he's really keeping it up with Trent Hinman there. He's doing a great job, and that just proves to you how competitive of a car that Riley Motorsports can put together.
Live from every round of the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship and the Michelin Pilot Championship in sound and vision across the world for qualifying, and with audio and video coverage from trackside. Every single moment covered on the IMSA Radio Network from Radio Show Limited. Jeremy Shaw, John Heinhoff, and we've got Dylan Murray in the booth as well, with Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Early doors here with 2 hours and 25 still to run in this race. At the back of the field, the 48 car of Corey Lewis managing to stay just about on the lead lap. He has not been lapped by the leader in GTD, but the next car back, Jeremy, as he comes across the line, is Trent Hinman. Now, how hard is Trent Hinman going to try to put this Corey Lewis car a lap down? He doesn't want to risk his lead. It's a decent one, But in fact, I'll put that to Dylan. If you were Trent Hinman now and you're closing in on the back of this car, a car that was a championship-winning car last year, how hard would you want to try to put him a lap down early?
You know what? If I were Trent right now, this track is really bad with tire degradation. I mean, you wear off your tires really quick. And so if I were Trent in his position, I'd be looking at my mirrors saying, okay, I got that 33 car, well, a good ways behind me. I'm just going to conserve my tires. I'm not going to push too hard and wear off my tires. I'm going to save them for when I really need them. And in long races like this, you know, with 2 hours and 24 minutes to go still, it's really important to conserve your tires and conserve fuel. So if I were him, just hang out right behind that Lamborghini and just go for it.
Absolutely agree with you, Dylan. And what's interesting, I just talked, 5 minutes ago, about how consistent Laurens Vanthoor was at the front of the field, turning 51.1 second laps. Well, all of a sudden, that dropped to 51.60s, and he's done those for the last 4 or 5 laps in a row. And as a result of that, we've now got all the GTLM cars, apart from John Edwards, pretty much in nose-to-tail formation right now.
Great crowd here across the weekend. And this very short, sharp meeting, harking back to the earlier days of IMSA. We did have practice and qualifying this morning for IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. Hello to all of you joining us on the NBC Sports app. It's Jeremy Shaw, Dylan Murray and me, John Hindhaugh, in the IMSA Broadcast Centre here trackside. And Shea Adam is down in the pit lane.
With Earl Bamber up on the stand. Now, Laurens Vanthoor doing a great job out there in the 912, leading the way, finally got that pole position, so you can stop making fun of him for that. But just how long is he going to hog the seat before you get a chance to go out and play?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to worry long. I'm sure we'll find the next thing to tease him about. But it was awesome to get pole position for 912. It's like normal. He does the first stint, then I swap and go to the end. So it's the same plan like the whole season. Right now it's difficult to know because it's going to be the territory where no one really knows going in long runs. So let's see. It's going to be a really interesting race where everyone plays it, and the heat is really, really hot. And now we're just catching traffic, so now all the fun starts.
Are you guys hoping for a caution, or do you want it to stay green?
It's better if it stays green, isn't it? You know, I think it's a bit more fun and the strategy plays out. When it goes yellow, you get a bit of a gamble. So, you know, you need a bit of luck. Last week we had luck with the yellow not coming out when we were in short. So hopefully it's just green the whole way, then you have to worry.
Hey, good luck today.
Cheers.
Let's do the first of our Cadillac in-race updates. Porsche's first and second for 912 and 911 Porsches. Then it's the 25 BMW, 0.8 of a second between the two Porsches, and then another second further back on Moon Landing Day here at Lime Rock Park. In GTD, Acura, Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Lexus, Porsche, the top 6 separated by just under 11 seconds. And the leaders now coming past the Apollo 11. That does look like a Saturn V rocket tilted on its side, doesn't it? Well, it's meant to, celebrating the day of the 50th anniversary of man first walking on the moon, mankind first walking on the moon. The Magnus number 44 has been rebranded as the number 11 for one race only, and with the Saturn V decals. Looks fantastic. Yeah, and they do have team members dressed as astronauts as well in the pit lane.
Yeah, you'll see these GTLM cars now. They're starting to catch those GTD cars in lap traffic. And man, when I was out there, the GS cars catch up to the TCR cars. It's all about how quickly you can maneuver through those cars. And you know, those GTD cars, they're fighting for position too, so they don't want to give an inch. So it's really, you got to share the racetrack, and these guys, I mean, you see that Corvette and the Lexus there. I mean, they're really going after it. So nobody's really wanting to give an inch.
And all of a sudden, there's almost a 2-second gap now between those two Porsches, and Colin Di Filippi in third position as he dives down the inside of the Apollo 11 car at turn 4 there. You know, this is really interesting at this stage in the race, because the Porsches, they're absolutely in control now, and the fact they were able to pull away as soon as they came up, just before they came out to the traffic, he put his foot down.
Yes, they did.
He turned another 51.1 to Vanthoor, and that kind of, and Nick Tandy just followed him at the same pace, and all of a sudden that little bit of a breathing room as they begin to work their way through the traffic.
Got Dylan Murray in the booth, and Scott Buse has tweeted us at IMSA Radio and asks, what's the next stage in your career? You've been pretty successful so far. It's that time of year when you start to look forward.
Yeah, it's starting to look forward, and actually going into Road America in 2 weeks, it's actually going to be really hectic for me. We have practice on Thursday at Road America in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and I'll actually be doing the NASCAR K&N race at Watkins Glen that same weekend. So that's just a one-day show at Watkins Glen on Friday. So Thursday night I'll have to take a private plane all the way from Road America to Watkins Glen, and then do the practice qualifying and race on Friday at Watkins. After I bring home a first place trophy in that, fly back over to Road America and finish off and do the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge at Road America on Saturday.
It must really be awful to be you. The mere mention of private plane, never mind all the car driving.
That'll be a cool experience then.
It'll be very cool. Very cool.
I wish you all the best at that.
Yes.
And be safe in both. And see if you can bring home some silverware.
To make sure I catch up on some sleep before I go there.
Yes, sleep's optional at your age. I think you'll find when you get to our age, it becomes a little more important. You run on adrenaline and an enthusiasm. We wish you all the best in that. Stay with us as this battle continues. Dylan Murray with John Heinhoff and Jeremy Shaw in the booth for IMSA Radio. Good to have you company if you're joining us around the world or on Sirius XM. I like this at the moment. This is nice. People getting into a groove. There'll be all kinds of data that's being passed back to the pit wall. And one of the most important things at the moment is how the tyres are faring. So the race engineer will be asking all the drivers how the tyres feeling, how's the front end, how's the back end. I presume also, Dylan, they'll be asking for fuel numbers as well, because the temperature here has changed a lot over the weekend. It's been up, it's been down, and that's going to affect your fuel use.
Absolutely, and that's what I mean. Some guys, they'll be able to stretch it on fuel, but I mean most of the time it's really tight on fuel mileage and everything. And this track's very good with fuel mileage, and you really have to make sure you conserve fuel. And you'll see the lap times of these front-running cars. They're now 2.5 seconds or a second and a half off of what they were doing at the beginning of the race. And that's what I was saying. Going back to the tire degradation here, you really have to manage your tires and your fuel. And I mean, it's communication, calculations, everything.
We saw in the qualifying this morning, which I've got to keep reminding myself for the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship, the GT Le Mans cars took 4, 5, 6 laps before they really started to turn it on. So those early laps, how you bring the tyres in, are clearly very important. Now, they won't have that luxury when we get to the race, so presumably they must have scrubbed in a few sets rather than putting a set of brand new ones on.
Yeah, sometimes we'll do that. You go out and practice, just get that shiny stuff off the Michelin tires, just to get that enough off, so that way as soon as you go out, you're ready to go. And usually on the start of the race, it's not bad because you have those. Here you have 3 pace laps. So it's not bad on the start of the race. You can really scrub in your tires, get heat in them, and it brakes everything. So it's but yeah, when you go out, you make a pit stop, a live pit stop, and they send you back out on slicks. You better be pretty cautious the first lap because it is slippery out there.
Dylan Murray.
And in your race, Dylan, your co-driver Jim Cox, he went further than anybody in that first. Could you have made it to the end then, do you reckon, with just that one stop?
We did make it with one stop, so it was
with the caution. Yeah,
so we would have with that caution that really helped us, but we were right on the edge. I mean, it was like he said, Jim came on the radio and he's like, hey guys, we got the low fuel warning on. We got like less than 2 liters. They were just like, oh, just keep going, you'll be fine. So finally, I'm sitting there in pit lane with my helmet on, waiting to get in. And he's finally, like, we came in with 0.1 liters left in our fuel cell. So it was really crazy.
So you wouldn't have made it without the yellow thing?
It would have been close, because I think we pitted with 58 minutes to go. So we were right on the border.
Very cool.
Dylan Murray in the booth with us here at IMSA Radio. If you'd like to have a chat.
Robert, too, that caution that came out in our race, that was actually caused by us. Our passenger door window
popped
off going on the front straight, and so I didn't know it was gone. I didn't know that caution was because of us. It was it was a little bit crazy. I saw this dust and dirt flying into my car, and I'm like, what's going on? They finally told me after the race.
So there wasn't any difference in noise or anything like that? You didn't hear? Because normally you put a car window down at that
speed. No, just dust. It was, just dust and all that stuff getting in my eyes and everything. But it really helped the cockpit temperature, cooled it down a little bit.
So let's get back to what's going on the track. 2 hours and 15 minutes exactly still to run. The two Porsches run at the front of the field. It's looking fantastic for them at the moment, but still the rest of the field are all within 7.8 seconds. Down to the BMW, which is just dropping away a little bit further. I do think that Shea might be onto something there. And the BMW M8 of John Edwards, his lap times are a second or a second and a half off from the rest of the field. So he's gone into extreme fuel saving right from the start. There's actually no point in doing it halfway through a stint here. But 80 laps is what we're expecting from the Porsches before we see them on the pit lane. She's just laying back, having an ice cream, maybe a nice pedicure at the moment.
Oh, you're so funny, John. No, I'm actually just walking the whole length of the pit lane to see who's looking a little bit nervous that we're staying green for all this time, who's maybe putting new tires up on the wall, whose second drivers are getting helmeted. Not seeing any of that. But the number 24, the fuel-saving strategy, it's interesting because it's completely different from what John Edwards told me was going to happen. He said initially, and this was yesterday, that they were going to plan to run flat out for his first stint and then put Jesse in for the rest of the race so that John would have a nice, easy day today, and that, yes, he would be doing all the work. Well, apparently it seems that John's stint has now been elongated. He's going to be in the car for as long as this fuel window will last, or if a caution comes out, but as long as the fuel window will last, and then he'll hand over to the Finnish driver to finish the race.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, he's losing so much ground here.
And that's the problem.
I can't see how that can really work to his favour at this stage. Might be wrong, but...
It depends how much fuel he's saving. He'd have to be saving a heck of a lot to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean...
at the moment. Into the pit lane. In a moment or two, we're going to see the first of our pit lane callers, and it looks like it might be Marco Seifried. Shea, sorry.
Yeah, it does. No driver change as of yet. The minimum time has not been met, but they are putting new sticker Michelin tires up on the wall, and the whole crew, just as I was walking past, scrambled to attention. So either it was something that I did, or the fact that they realized that they are going to be having a pit stop, and indeed it is the latter, as the fuel nozzle is in hand, and they have left side rear tire up on the wall, and I can't see what the other one is, but I would imagine that it also is left front tire, so that'll be a left side tire change only for the number 73 Park Place Porsche.
It's a hot, steamy afternoon at Lime Rock Park. Everybody feeling it at the moment. And we've been green since the start of the race, which was just on 20 minutes ago. 2 hours and 40 was on the clock when we started. We've still got a little over 2 hours and 12 to go. Everybody looking relatively relaxed in the pit lane. Here's how it stands in GT Daytona. It's the Acura NSX that leads, of Trent Hinman, Ben Keating holding on really well, only 4 seconds back in second place after a storming qualifying performance that saw him sitting on provisional pole for a very long time in that session before he was pipped by Trent Hinman in the 86 MSR Acura. Then, after the 33 in second, it's the 96 BMW. That's another 6.5 seconds further back for Robbie Foley. Robbie Foley and Bill Oberlin must be the tiredest people out there this weekend, along with Trent Hinman. They've done all of the sessions bar one, actually, and they have been already racing today. Then Zach Robichon, good to see the FAF Porsche coming back to life. It had one bad session where it was off the pace, but Zachary Robichon, young Porsche Charger, being part of the IMSA Development Series in the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama, and he is in 4th place at the moment, and he's pressuring Robbie Foley now. He's down to under half a second in that battle for 3rd and 4th in GTD. Finishing up the top 6, Marco Seifried for Park Place, that's the dark grey car, and Cooper McNeil in the white WeatherTech Ferrari, the 63 car. They've been having a decent run this weekend. He's in 7th position. I missed out Richard Highstand, my apologies, in 5th in the first of the Lexus. At the top of the field, the two Porsches, round about a second between them, being chased down by BMW, number 25, Ford, number 66, the two Corvettes, 3 and 4, in that order, running pretty much together. Then the Ford GT, and then the big gap after the 67 car to John Edwards. Have they gone wrong? Is there an issue somewhere with that car, or are they playing down at Rahal Letterman Lanigan a very canny game there? And in fact, as I say that, He's dropped back to 19 seconds away from the Ford, 29 seconds away from the leader. That's starting to get worrying for me now.
Yeah, you're losing 2.5 seconds a lap here. So something's clearly not right there with that 24 car. Something isn't what they'd anticipated, I'm sure.
2 hours and 10 minutes then, still on the clock. And the racing is beginning to get interesting again at the front of the field as once again the leaders, and this is the beauty of multi-class racing, leaders coming around to pass the GTD runners. Dylan Murray in the booth with us here. It's not that different here in WeatherTech than it is for you in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, because although on paper there looks to be a couple of seconds, sometimes more, difference in lap time, actually how the cars make their lap times here makes it very difficult. If the driver ahead, even if it's in a GTD car, doesn't help, as the number 33 has just done there, and that's Ben Keating. He's a savvy driver, he's let the leading Porsche through. But if he doesn't help, it's really hard to pass here.
It is very hard. I mean, you can be stuck behind, doesn't matter what class, if you're in GTLM or GTD, I mean, you can be stuck behind somebody for a long time, and there you see the Porsche now just going around. He's using that horsepower to get around the 33 of Ben Keating.
I think Ben eased out there as he was getting down towards the first corner of Big Ben, because the GT3 cars are actually pretty quick in a straight line.
They are. They're actually very quick, and I mean, but yeah, it makes it so hard to pass here, because I mean, you're turning left turn after right turn after left right. I mean, it is non-stop turning at this track, and that's another thing that just adds up to your physical fitness of being so hot in the cockpit and never get a break of anything. So it's you can be stuck behind somebody for a long time, and it can get very frustrating, but you just have to be patient. And I'm surprised that they haven't had a caution yet.
Yeah.
With all that, everybody doing all this lap trap just tells you how good these people are.
And how much does that mental fatigue play into what's going on? It's clearly physically very, very tiring because of the heat.
Right.
But there's not a lot of super high G corners here, so you're not getting thrown around in the track, but the heat is tiring. But the mental, the concentration, that much wear you down as well.
Yeah, and that's what Mosport, or Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, that's physically draining. This track is slower speed corners with a lot of them, and it's hot out. So I mean, by the end of your stint, it's so hot in your cockpit, and your mind just can't process things at the rate it can before.
Fuel and 4 tires for Marco Seifried. They had the other ones just sitting on the other side of the wall. He is staying in the car for at least one more stint. This is his first time racing at Lime Rock Park. The tire change perfectly executed by the Park Place Porsche crew. And the number 73 now just waiting on the last drops of fuel to go in the tank. Now this is not a full load because the car has not been out there for the full time, but the refueler had a little bit of trouble removing the nozzle from the front of the Porsche. Marco wastes no time though. He is back underway.
I wonder whether something happened on that, because number 63 car fell back. Those two have been running together, the 73 and the 63. The 63 has lost a position to number 91 Porsche.
Side by
side for third place. And the Ford goes through.
And that is the Ford going through, coming out of Big Bend, and then that tiny little straight ahead part before you head into the left-hander at turn 3. And just about made it do. That was a smart move by the Ford of Dirk Muller. Got himself in position, it seemed. I'm presuming he went all the way around the outside at Big Bend, because I can't imagine that the door was left open on the exit. I could be wrong. They ride the curb on the inside in turn 1, the first part of Big Bend. Yes, he comes around the outside, and Dylan Murray, that is a very bold maneuver.
That is very bold, and especially, I mean, with, like I said, with how all the marbles just starting to build up out there. I mean, if you touch one of those marbles or build up or rubber on the track, it's like driving on ice. So that was very bold.
Yeah, I think number 24 car has certainly been holding up the Ford, so we'll see all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, just little by little, that gap had extended to 8.5 seconds between two Porsches who are just running away at the front now. So I think Dirk Muller really needed to make that pass and to keep pace with the Porsche, at least keep them in sight, which they barely are at the moment.
I think we're going to have to get Shea down to RLL, because John Edwards' times, Shea, are actually slower than the whole of the GT Daytona field now as well.
And their crew is up on the wall, so John will be pitting, if not this lap by, then the next lap. So he is coming in for new tires and fuel, and I don't see Jesse Krohn or that distinctive green and white helmet yet, so he might not be getting in the car.
at IMSA Radio if you want to join in the conversation. Andrew Muggeridge is tuned in Cornwall in the southwest of England in sound and vision, listening and watching another terrific race.
Not down the road from here.
Not this Cornwall,
okay.
no.
Right.
I'm presuming that he's in Cornwall enjoying a Saturday evening at just before 9 o'clock as the leaders pick their way through and in fact put a lap on that BMW. There was a little bit of a touch there. The leader got through Vantur in the 912, but Nick Tandy picks up a little bit more BMW paint and now comes down the inside as he dives down into turn 7. Tandy wasn't at all happy at the treatment that he got at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as that car comes into the pit lane already off the lead lap, and Shea will drop another lap even if this is a regular stop.
It will be a regular stop. Jesse Krohn has jumped off the wall. They are going to do at the very least 2 tires. No, it will be 4 tire stop. John Edwards out of the car. They were followed in, though, interestingly, by the 67 Ford GT. That is still Ryan Briscoe aboard that car. And it's interesting to note that last time that car won, every time the big bosses were not here from Ford Chip Ganassi Racing, guess what? The big bosses are not here this weekend, so that's definitely a car to keep an eye on. 4 tires have been changed. Fuel and fuel. 24 is sent out. The 67 is now following suit and also into the pit lane. The number 63 Scuderia Corse Ferrari. This pit stop is too early. Minimum drive time has not yet been met for Cooper McNeil. He cannot get out of the car, and they have actually put in what looked like a new data stick to the right-hand side of that car. The headlights have gone off. This car is shut off. The hood is coming open. This is not going to be a quick stop for the Scuderia Corse Ferrari.
It's very odd indeed what's happening to the BMW. They can't possibly have done their tyres. Is that all that was, Jeremy? I mean,
Well,
they've just tyred and fueled and sent it.
What would be particularly surprising is the fact that they spent the whole final session yesterday on one set of tyres doing, I would have thought, a simulation for this. So that's what makes it more surprising for me. You know, they were running laps during yesterday. It took 52s and 53s, which is what about everybody is running right now, apart from the Porsches. You know, there was obviously something I think was amiss on that 24 car. That was certainly not planned to do that.
The Porsche pace is such that they have now put a lap on the 67 car as well. That's Ryan Briscoe just out of the pit
stop. Sorry, big pardon.
Yeah, and there goes the 63 into the pits. The Corvette number 4, Ollie Gavin. So with 37 minutes to go, they're starting to peel off into the pit lane, and Shea Adam has the stop from the Corvette racing team. Marcel
Fessler is getting in, so that means Oliver Gavin getting out. I wonder if they're going to do a 2-driver change during the course of this race. Oliver Gavin, 4 wins here at Lime Rock Park. Fuel and 4 new Michelin tires going onto that number 4 Corvette. Looks like a clean stop so far.
Well, don't forget that BMW that we've been talking about did get the little nerf off the road at the start and did a bit of rallycross on the outside of Big Ben, but even so, had that just dirtied the tyres up enough to take them out of their operating range? I don't know. The question needs to be asked down at RLL, and that's where Shea is at the moment, watching the pit stop for the team car, the number 25. And once that's done, we'll get word from the team on what the problem is with that 24 car.
This is going to be fuel tires and a driver change. Connor De Filippi jumping out. Tom Blomqvist getting his first racing laps around Lime Rock Park. Now, let's see just how many tires they elect to do. It will also be a 4-tire stop for the 25 BMW.
And the driver change and a full tank of racing fuel as well. They've gone to work, and they are brand new unscrubbed Michelin slicks there. And with 3 compounds to choose from, can be any number of combinations of what's gone on to that tyre. As the 25 fires up and leaves. Let's stay down in that area of the pit lane, because let's find out what happened to that BMW earlier on. Here's its driver. That's John Edwards talking to Shea Adam.
John, that looked like a really difficult stint out there. What was causing the lack of pace?
Understeer, degradation. I mean, I don't know. They had to look at the splitter because I got pushed off by Fessler at the start, so I thought maybe we picked up a little damage from that, because from the beginning it was worse balance than qualifying. We had a little more understeer in the high speed, but it was drivable, and so I just kind of sat back off the Ford, tried to set 1.5 seconds back so I had clean air, and it just got worse and worse. So by the end, we were lapped by the GTL infield, so that's really disappointing, and that's not the level we should be at.
Thanks for talking to us, John.
Thanks.
That's very classy from John Edwards to talk. You can hear the disappointment in his voice there. Nick Tandy's having trouble putting a lap on the 67 Ford GT. That's the light blue and red striped car of Ryan Briscoe. Ryan defending stoutly there and now trying to get his lap back from the 912. Remember, the two Porsches have not stopped yet. The leading car that has stopped is Ryan Briscoe, so it's important for him to keep his track position. One of our Porsche keys to the race. He's really closed up onto the 912, and once he got those Michelins fired up and switched on, he's now hassling. He twice rebuffed Nick Tandy quite forcefully, as into the pit lane comes Corvette Racing's number 3, Antonio Garcia.
Fuel tires and driver change. Antonio Garcia is out of the number 3 Corvette. Into it is Jan Magnussen. Car stalls. Once again, it did this in qualifying too when Antonio Garcia tried to pull away several times. Jan Magnussen pressed it. He did a nice burnout to try and ensure that the car would get away.
And Ryan Briscoe gets his lap back. He's back on the end of the lead lap going into the first corner. Now, this is interesting. This is tyre degradation. This is the tyres wearing, the performance dropping away. All the drivers have been talking about it. Dylan Murray is with us here in the studio. Now, if you're on the Porsche pit wall now, does that worry you that you've now got to get the cars in, or are you happy that you've still got a 7-second lead back to Dirk Muller, who hasn't stopped?
It depends on what their strategy is. If they think that they can make this on a one less stop than the Ford GTs, then I mean, go for it. You just have to be patient out there and know that your tires are not going to be as good as the guys with new tires. And so just being patient and hope your strategy works.
The number 3, Antonio Garcia, has come out right in front of the BMW of Tom Blomqvist, who is pushing things along in the BMW number 25.
Yeah, they split the two Corvettes,
yes.
and they're running in a train now. So it's interesting to see what difference there was. I mean, when they came into before their stops, number 25 car was just ahead of number 3 and of number 4. During the pit stop sequence, number 3 has got out, which made it stop 2 laps later, has come out slightly, I mean, just ahead of the number 25 BMW.
Yeah, it was the Briscoe Ford that stopped on lap 42, and he has been defending, as I say, stoutly in a couple of places on the track. They've traded paint, and for a moment it looked like Nick Tandy was going to hold on there, but round the outside of turn 3 into turn 4 he wasn't really going to make that. He just drifted wide in the middle of the big bend, and that was all of the opportunity that Ryan Briscoe needed to get through. In from 11th position, Corey Lewis in GTD. Shea Adam is watching that. The action at the front of the field still hot and furious, as the lead car that hasn't stopped is that 67 Ford, and that is so crucial for him to get back on the lead lap before the two Porsches stop. Shea?
Fuel tires and driver change for the number 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. This is the second time that this car has been into the pit lane today, so it was a shorter fill, but a very good stop for Paul Miller Racing. Also in, the number 76 Compass Racing McLaren is in. That is doing fuel and doesn't look like, oh, now there's a driver change going on. So, or no, that's not a driver change. That is just the passenger door being opened. New drinks bottle for Matt Fromm. The leader is in. The number 912 Porsche comes down the pit lane. Lawrence Vantoor brought this car in. Earl Bamber will take it back out. 4 new Michelin tires. Those are still nice and shiny, so they haven't even been scrubbed in. And that will be a lot of fuel before the car is ready to leave. Still no sign of the number 911 Porsche, as the number 12 Lexus was very slow on racetrack. That was a bit disarming to hear that car going by so slowly. 76 pit stop is done. The McLaren is back underway. Waiting on the right rear tire for the number 912 Porsche and the fuel. And he is clear to go. He's out ahead of the McLaren.
So the first Porsche stop in the boot then, and it is Earl Bamber from the lead, comes out. Now, here's a very important moment. Does he get out in front of the Ford? Yes, he does. That was the first car that had made it stop, so Porsche have timed that perfectly. They probably couldn't have got even one more lap, and Nick Tandy has to come in this time around, Shea, and he has. And this is going to be very tight for him to get out in front of the Ryan Briscoe Ford. It's Dirk Muller that's gone to the lead share, but of course he still has to stop.
Well, the pressure now is on Patrick Pile because it will be his responsibility to get back out in front of the Ford. They are giving Patrick 4 new tires as well. Those ones were not scuffed in. Very good stop from the 911 crew as far as the tire change was done. Still waiting on the fuel. And now Patrick, where's the Ford?
Going down the front straight, he hasn't got through. I think he's going to be close. He's going to get in the lead. He might get into the lead. He has got into the lead. Brilliant stuff. Great in lap from Tandy. Fabulous work from the Core Motorsport Porsche GT team. And the 911 not only jumps his teammate, the 912, but crucially, that means he's ahead of the Ford, who's on the warmer tyres. Brilliant stuff. Perfect timing. And that was a great job by both of the Porsche crews. Dylan Murray, exactly what you were saying, that all came down to strategy, and it's played out perfectly for Porsche. Perhaps not quite as well for the 912, who's going to have a quick look round the outside of his teammate. Oh, they can't take each other out here into turn 7 at the far side of the circuit. Now at the moment, remember, no tyre warners here, so Pile will defend into turn 7. What they don't want to do is give that Ford a chance to pass the pair of them. They're onto the straight now. Oh, that's a bit of a defensive move. And the 912 will come down the inside and retake the lead. Pile really wants to get that 3rd win of the season there and held off his teammate. Now, is he going to fall in the clutches of Ryan Briscoe? That would be the question for me. Surely it would have been better for those guys to work together.
So they've got to worry about their tires now. I mean, they've got better tires than that Ford, but I mean, can that Ford just keep up? It's going to be close.
It's very fast down the straight, that Ford as well. Dylan, thanks very much.
Before that round of pit stops, the Ford was 7 seconds behind.
Yes. So that's the performance advantage of sticking the new tyres on early and getting some fast laps in. Dylan, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We wish you all the best in what you're doing this season. Great insight. Dylan Murray can join us anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate. Dylan Murray. Shea Adam with more from the pit lane.
We had both of the Lexuses in for their pit stops, fuel tires and driver changes for both of those cars. The number 12 is still in the pit lane. It looks as if that car is stuck in gear. They can't get it disengaged so that Townsend Bell can put it into first and take the car out onto the track. Now they're going to try something else to see if that'll help. But the important thing was that Bill Oberlin came in the middle of a Lexus bread. He was the meat in the sandwich. He left ahead of both of them. So now Robbie Foley's day is finally done, and it's Bill power time. Also into the pit lane, the number 91 Wright Motorsports Porsche. That looked like Matty Campbell getting aboard that car, taking over for Anthony Imperato. And the rocket has landed. I'm not going to say the Eagle yet because the job isn't done, but the number 11 Magnus Racing Lamborghini Apollo 11 in the pit lane. Andy Lally about to take over his rocket ship.
As we welcome Owen Trinkler to the IMSA broadcast booth. Congratulations on the run earlier on today. Great first stint. Hugh did a brilliant job in the end. It was fast, it was furious, everybody was on edge, and we've got exactly the same thing here in the WeatherTech SportsCar Championship.
I mean, this is just a fabulous track at Lime Rock Park, and we see the Porsches. I mean, they can put the power down so well, and we saw with Pile there, he came out on new tires. It takes the Michelins about 4 or 5 laps to come in here. It's such a short lap, and you can just see Bamber just had the run on him, and he needed to get by him right then before his tires came in.
You've got to say that the tactics from the pit wall itself could not have been any closer to keep the 67 Ford of Ryan Briscoe behind them. They literally could not have gone one more lap.
No, they couldn't have, and they're kind of playing some of the strategy that Joe Vardy played with us. I stayed out as long as I could today on old tires, and the car does fall off quite a bit, but when you got a good car and it's handling well and you got good pace, that you can do that, and the Porsche showed it there.
And how much is this track a rhythm circuit that when you get into that groove, you don't want to come in. If you can keep that rhythm going and your lap times aren't falling off too much, you want to stay out there.
John, is tremendous. It's completely rhythm here at Lime Rock Park. It's such a short, it's like an oval. You've got to just get in a rhythm here and then work the lap traffic and stuff. And then, the leaders are working through the lap traffic. In our race, the TCR guys did an awesome job, and even some of the slower GS guys for me did an awesome job on, not say moving out of the way, but making it easier for me to get by, because you can get stuck behind a car and end up running their pace for a couple laps, and then your competition's closing in on you quite a bit. It only takes a little bit here.
I said early on in the race, I thought when you hit the traffic, there was it has to be a blend, doesn't it, of patience, aggression, but controlled and decisive aggression when you're coming through traffic here.
No, and I wanted to make sure I was coming up on some battles too in the TCR class that they were still fighting position. I understand that because I ran in the ST class at one time, so I understand what those guys are going through. So maybe that helps a little bit in my situation as I'm coming through. I've been in their shoes also. I just want to move through quickly and let them continue on their battle and just kind of pick my spots where I knew my car was going to be safe and not get it hurt at all and keep it good for Hugh.
Hour and 50 minutes to go. Stay with us. I want to go down to the pit lane now. Shea Adam is there with some news that it will impact the championship standings in GTD.
Second place in the championship, the number 12 Aim Vaster Sullivan Lexus behind the wall. They could not get the car going again after its pit stop, and mechanics pushed it back to the garage.
Oh my goodness, and that car, in fact, is coming, I think, back into the pit lane now. Or is that it leaving? That's it leaving the pit lane. It's just going out of the pit lane right now and heading out into the paddock area, and that's going to drop that out of the championship. It's so tight at the top of the championship, Jeremy. You cannot afford to drop down through the championship standings and not get a good score here, particularly at this stage of the season. Races to make those positions up, dropping away for Frank Montecalvo and Townsend Bell.
Absolutely true, and they've been struggling all weekend long. I spoke to Townsend at lunchtime, and they've just been kind of scratching their heads. They've been trying just about everything. The balance of the car has been okay, and it's a little bit of understeer, but nothing too bad. But they just don't have the speed in it. It's a pretty heavy car, that Lexus, and just doesn't seem to be suited particularly well to this racetrack. But they had a problem in the qualifying. They had a broken brake rotor, but clearly something more is amiss with that car now.
So the Porsches now have weathered the imminent storm of the Ford GT, now up to third position, ahead of Tom Blomqvist. It's about a second and a half from the second place Porsche to the first place, to the third place Ford, and they are coming round to put a lap on Jesse Krohn in the number 24 BMW. They're in thick traffic at the moment, and Tandy closes up to the back of, Patrick Pele closes up to the back of Earl Bamber. Tandy started the car. Bamber will go to the end with a double stint. Bamber will do the same in the other car, and this is allowing, in behind that number 24 BMW as they come to the West Bend through turn 6 now and dropping under the Bailey Bridge down towards turn 7. Just getting a little bit of shade on parts of the circuit where the very mature trees and the sun is just moving around a little bit. That would be great news for the Michelin tyre temperatures, because as soon as you take the direct heat or Drinkler off the surface, it does make a difference to the track temperature.
No, it does. It definitely helps a little bit as it cools a little bit. What we're kind of seeing here on the screen here with the BMW, Jeremy, is that the Porsche's probably getting a little aero push here, and that's going to wear his front tires out a little bit too, and so that's probably giving his teammate a little bit a chance to run up on him. The BMW's a bigger car, creates a bigger wake, and so they're probably struggling with that, running right up behind him here.
Yeah, I bet. And just the only car that hasn't yet made a pit stop in this race is a GTD leader, car number 86 of Trent Hinman. He's running a fantastic pace out in front. He still is he's a lap down to the overall leaders, but I mean, what a job he has done at the wheel of that car. And he is still yet to make a pit stop. The number 33 car, Ben Keating, he kept within 3 seconds of Hinman all the way through that stint. He pitted just a couple of laps ago. He was the second last car to make a pit stop in GTD. And he's come out still in second place in the cars, which is, well, that's fine, because everybody else has made a stop as well.
Of course, yes, exactly right. Let's go down to Shea Adam in the pit lane. Where are you, Shea?
I'm with birthday boy Robbie Foley, who probably doesn't want a birthday cake right now. You're happy with all these ice packs. Your last stint done. Just how tired are you after doing the double?
Yeah, it was tough, for sure. Not too bad when you're driving. Once you get out, you're like, wow, I'm pretty hot and tired. But, yeah, it was good. Got a little bit too much tire deck there, and I made a small mistake. Towards the end of the stint, went down to 4th, but we're right with the 3rd place car, the 9 car, I think. So see where we cycle, and Bill will give him a heck to the end.
That'll be a lot of fun to watch that number 96. Good luck today.
Thanks.
So the 86 car getting on. I'm just working
He's
out.
still on the lead lap, by the way, because with the overall leaders having pitted, he got himself back on the lead lap. So
the overall
incredible
lead lap,
yes, the overall leader. It's just incredible stint by Trent Hinman here.
Incredible fuel mileage as well. They've done 54 minutes in that car now.
But he's got to be careful now, though, because Europe Leckerman is out now on fresh tyres in the number 33 car, and he's going to be making up ground here unless number 86 car comes in and puts on fresh Michelins fairly soon. So that's going to be it's all very well stretching your fuel load. We're still 1 hour and 45 minutes to go, so it's going to be 2 pit stops in this race for the GTD car. So they're going to be careful to keep them out too long and have that backfire on them.
Right, let's just set the scene then in GTD with Trent Hinman still to pit. He's in the Big Bend now, turns 1 and 2, and he has got, I'll wait for the Mercedes to come through. He's going to be, he's going to have a
lap on the
lead.
field right
he
now.
He has got a lap on the field, yeah.
But like Jeremy was talking, John, he's got to be careful because Bleekemolen just did a 52.5. Trent just did a 53.8. So you kind of saw, and Vardy kind of played this strategy with us a little bit. We stayed up pretty long, and some guys came in early and put tires on, but they're looking at their fuel mileage here. But they may lose the lead here, Jeremy, on this cycle, but they're back time in the race right now also.
Yeah. Well, and here comes the 33, holding into view behind the leader. So a lap, but a lap and only now about 10 cars lengths. They're both on the Samposi straight together. Cross the line now for the leader, now for Jerome Bleekemolen. And Bleekemolen may well unlap himself here before that car comes in. So now the decision is, what do you do? If you're the strategist for the leading car in GT Daytona, do you bring him in now? And the other question is, are you going to leave Trent in for another stint?
Well, they're going to have really good tires, John. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So they're playing their strategy. Bleekemolen's on new tires. He's probably been on 5 or 10 laps on those tires. But now when the 86, when Trent makes that stop in the 86 car, if he stays in or Fahnbacher gets in, he's going to be on better tires. But I think they're back time in the race right here.
Shea Adam is down in the pit lane waiting for the GTD leader to come in. Bleekemolen is second. Seefried is third in the 73 car. And there goes Bleekemolen. He's got his lap back because the leader has peeled into the pit lane. Shea Adam, what's the tactics going to be down at the Riley Technology pit?
Do you hear the Nintendo music? That's because it's Super Mario time. It is Mario Fahnbacher taking over for Trent Hinman in this number 86 Acura that comes in with bright green number 1 on the side. They are doing fuel and scrubbed Michelin tires. Now, I can't tell if these are lightly scrubbed tires or pretty well worn tires that have then been scrubbed off once again by the heat gun. Looks like they were possibly used for quite a few laps this morning, maybe in the final practice session or yesterday in the late afternoon, but they are not the shiny new sticker rubbers. That's interesting because pretty much everyone else I've seen have gone for that shiny new. The car drops off the air jacks, just waiting on the fuel. 27, 28, 29 seconds the car has been in its pit box. It should be good to leave shortly. Man, Trent used a lot of fuel. 38 seconds worth of fuel went into that car as it was sitting there, and Mario Fahnbacher is released.
And he's lost the lead, and he's lost second place as well because the Porsche's coming round. This is going to be tight. No, it's not. Through it comes the 73 car. Marcus Seefried goes through. Bleekemolen went through some time ago. So at the moment, that looks like that hasn't worked. But what will happen here, and this is what Owen was saying, and Owen, what that gives them is they go longer into the race now. So their last stop, potentially, if we stay green, is a shorter stop than those around them.
That's right, yeah. You back time the race, and I think you saw that in our race also, John. We fell back to third, but we knew exactly what we need to do as far as tires. And we actually went on scrub tires also for you during our stop. I put about 4 or 5 laps on them yesterday and had a scrub set. And feel like that helped the Michelin tire go in this heat a little bit longer, and the car stayed underneath us a little bit, and I think that helped them get the win.
And does that bring them up quicker as well? We were talking about how long it takes, maybe sometimes 5-6 laps for the GTLM cars. If you've put a heat cycle through them already and just taken that shiny release agent off it, does it help the tires come up a little bit quicker?
John, it makes it about half that now.
Oh, really?
And so that's what we tried that in practice, and it was about 5 or 6 laps for us, so I'm sure it's for these guys also. And it cuts that about in half. So now Fahnbacher can really push the car and not burn the tires up too. When you got new tires, you tend to overheat them because you got so much grip as a driver. You want those new tires, and you don't realize you're actually heating them up that fast.
And also the pressures aren't quite there either, so you've got to be quite careful on some of the curbs that you don't do any damage.
Yep.
Yeah, to the inside, particularly to the inside of the tyre, the inside tyre wall. The number 12, the Lexus, Frankie Montecalvo, has come back out from behind the wall. In fact, it was Townsend Bell who's taken that car back out onto the track now. We'll find out what was ailing that car in a wee moment. Earl Bamber still has Patrick Pilet just 0.2 of a second behind, and those two guys have been in lockstep. I wonder when the big red button is pressed on the team orders side of things that says, right, that's it, lads, hold your positions, because I know that Pele and Tandy want to square away the wins column. They're down 2-3 at the moment, but Nick Tandy said to me earlier in the week down at Porsche of Wallingford, when we did our little dealer event down there, Steve Gilligan and the team at Porsche of Wallingford, doing a cracking job for us. Thanks, Steve. Hope you're listening in. I know you can't be here because it's a Saturday work day today for you and the team. But Tandy was saying to me, yeah, they've had 3 victories. That totals about 6 hours of racing. Our 2 victories was over 18 hours of racing. So we feel we should morally be at the head of the championship. But it don't work like that.
No. All the races pay the same.
Oh, yeah. They're ahead by 4 points. The Lawrence Vanto and Earl Bamber duo. Overtake number 63 down the front straight, just passing us now. The Sam Posey straight in that car. With Tony Vielander now at the wheel, has dropped down after its pit stop.
Yeah, that had some problems. I don't know whether there was contact earlier on between the 73 or why the number 73 car came in so early, but it certainly hasn't lost any ground because it's come out in second place in the class. They're only about 4 seconds behind Jerome Bleckenmolen, but now Margot Seefried in at number 73 Park Place Porsche. He's got his mirrors full of Mario Farnbacher and Dennis Olsen is right there as well in car number 9. He'll take over from Jackie Robichon.
Townsend Bell back into the pits with the Lexus RCF GT3. He's rumbling through. Is he going straight back into the paddock area? Can't quite see. No, he's gone straight back out again. That was a gearbox issue. The car was sticking in second gear. And he's come down the pit lane. Maybe he didn't come to his pit box on the way out of the garage, and that might have been a drive-through for that. An hour and 40 minutes, 100 minutes still to go here. Here's how it stands. Jerome Bleckenmolen leads in GTD after the first round of pit stops by 5 seconds over Marcus Seefried for the 73 Park Place Porsche. It did come in early, but the track position, one of our Porsche keys to the race, has worked out in its favour by 0.6 of a second to Super Mario Farnbacher in 3rd position. Then it's that's the Acura. Then it's the second of the Porsches. Dennis Olsen, another one of the Porsche young professionals. The number 9 Pfaff car, the Plaid car in 4th position. He's only another 0.6 further back. So there's 3 cars there in around about a second. 5th position for Bill Oberlin. Mighty Bill Oberlin. What a weekend he's been having with his teammates and with Turner Motorsport. Remember, Turner running 2 cars out of the same pit in every session, both in the WeatherTech SportsCar Championship and the Michelin Pilot, with the same crew. Real Ironman efforts from those guys. Fantastic stuff. Jack Hawksworth is in 6th position for the Lexus RCF GT3, number 14. At the head of the field, the GT Le Mans battle is Porsche-shaped. 2 911s, and then in behind them, Ryan Briscoe refusing to give way. The 3 cars cross the line within 0.6 of a second, and the battle is turned up to gas mark 8 once again, with Ryan Briscoe having closed down the 2 Porsches, 912, 911, then the light blue 67 Ford GT. Going through in 4th position will be Tom Blomqvist. There he goes, and side-by-side action, the Corvette and the Ford GT. I think the Corvette was ahead of the line, the 3 car of Jan Magnussen, with Joey Hand and Marcel Fessler. Literally the 3 of them went across the line 3 wide.
Yeah, and I don't know what, maybe half a dozen laps or so ago, number 66 car, 5 laps ago, number 66 car got past number 4 Corvette. Now it looks like he's snuck past number 3 car as well, so Joey Hand is on the move in what is probably now going to be 5th position. But meanwhile, the gap from the first 3, even though they're kind of bottled up behind number 24 car, Jesse Kroner, they're still edging away now from the BMW of Tom Blomqvist in 4th position.
Yeah, and I'm not shocked to see the Ford GT up there. This is such a momentum track. I've talked to Ryan several times that the Ford GT, you wouldn't think it just the way the BOP is, it's a momentum car. So we're about halfway through the run here. It's easy on the tires, but a momentum track here, as long as they're working traffic good, he can continue that momentum and try to run with these Porsches here.
Yeah, it looks after its tires well as well, doesn't it? That was the key to the success here last year for the Ford GT.
Yep.
In fact, for the last 20 laps, the tires were really good. They were able to lean on that car and hold off all the challenges.
I just checked in with Cooper McNeil as to why the 63 Scuderia Corse Ferrari had a very long pit stop. It was because Cooper had trouble upshifting. The car was refusing to do it. He did a full lap in 2nd gear, brought it back into the pit lane, and then called for a new steering wheel to be put into the car. After doing a full Control-Alt-Delete, that new steering wheel seems to have done the trick, and Tony Villander is out there with a very fast Ferrari. He's 2 laps down, but watch out, when Tony gets powered up, he can make magic happen.
He really likes to feel he's making a difference. One of those drivers, most drivers do, in his position. Great gaggle of cars going down towards Big Ben, the first corner at the end of Zamposi straight, and that was the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, the Ford GT and the two C7R Corvettes. Absolutely together and mired in traffic. Actually, the BMW with Tom Blomqvist is right in there as well. So the Fords are coming to life in this second stint with the new set of tyres on. And they've been very, very racy indeed. It was a great move down the inside during the traffic that almost brought the position for the number 66 car a couple of 3 laps ago on Jan Magnussen. And finally he got that completed on the start-finish line and going down into turn 1, the first part of Big Bend. So the Ford now confirmed the 66 car in 5th position ahead of the two Corvettes. So Porsche, Ford, BMW, Ford, Corvette. That's how it stands in GT Le Mans at the moment.
Yeah, and that was a great move by Joey Hand in the 66. He just kind of did the over-under, set it up through the left-hander and did the over-under coming to no-name straight and got position as you come into the chicane down here at the end of the straightaway. So that was a great move. Shows how well that car's turning at this point in the stint. To be able to do that and get the car to turn down underneath the Corvette there is unbelievable.
Yeah, came from a long way back into the uphill chicane. Very nice manoeuvre indeed. And now he set his target on the 4th place car of Tom Blomqvist, the number 25, and he's in traffic just ahead. The two Corvettes have to get past the Pfaff Porsche. That's Dennis Olsen running in 4th place, and these are all cars battling for position.
Yeah.
The Acura NSX just ahead is Mario Farnbacher, former leader, pole sitter as well, of course, and everybody having to play fair and reasonably. It's been impressive to see just how much respect everybody's been given. Let's not forget that Marcel Fesler had a big thump on the tyres in one of the practice sessions coming up the uphill. It was like he missed the chicane and then didn't realise there was going to be a tyre barrier in front of him. The whole front end of the car had to be put back together, and that did stunt their practice time just a little bit. That car's fully back together now. Marcel Fesler back in the car, subbing this weekend again for the normal driver of that car, Tom Milner. Sorry, he was right in the middle of traffic there as he coming down through turn 7, and I thought, is he going to have a go down the inside? So we wish Tom the best, still struggling with that hand injury that he sustained at Watkins Glen in the opening moments. Now, meantime, the battle is on for 3rd position. Check that for 4th position with Tom Blomqvist. Has his mirrors, well, I was going to say has his mirrors full of the Ford GT, but that's such a low car. I'm thinking if he's sitting right behind him, he probably can't see it at all.
Oh, it's almost like a little prototype car back there. And Joey, he's setting them up right here. We can see on his onboard here that last lap. He's going to set him up to get on no name, just like he did the Corvette. Looks like he's trying to get close enough to him, then he'll set that move up, that little over-under move through no name.
Yeah, it's an intriguing battle, this, isn't it? That's going on. And where's the BMW?
BMW has dropped back behind Tom Blomqvist as they went across the line. So Ryan Briscoe, has got past Tom Blomqvist just down the end.
The 24 car was right ahead of the leaders.
I think he still is, Joey.
Okay, fine, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because they certainly lost some time in that last lap, but all of a sudden lost about a second and a half coming past some of the slower
it's the 24
there.
coming across the line.
Fine, good.
Now.
So he's still there on the lead lap.
And then it's the number 11, the Apollo 11 car.
Yeah.
Taylor Edwards tweeting in at IMSA Radio, fun to see that Apollo livery on the Lamborghini. But did you know that Bill Riley's dad, Bob, cut his engineering teeth on the original NASA Saturn V team? I didn't know that. And neither did Gearbox Girl, but we'll ask Bill Riley about that if we get a chance later on. That is a great piece of trivia on Moon Landing Day. Thanks, Taylor Edwards, for that. Not sure where you are in the world to bring that in, but and off at the end of the lap, right in front of the 63 car. Was that Catherine Legg? No, that's.
I think it was the Ferrari, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the 63.
Yeah, just a couple of notes in GTD then. Number 86 car and the number 9 have both moved ahead on Marco Sleafried in the Mark Place Porsche a couple of laps ago. Now Sleafried, he's got his mirrors full of Bill Arbelin, who's charging along in car number 96. So the battle is on there, and all of a sudden Jerome Bleckerman has a lead over 11 seconds over that battle for second place between number 86 and number 9. So it's been a really, really good effort here from Jerome Bleckemolen.
Delighted to welcome Hugh Plum to the booth. Our cycle of successful drivers today continues. First of all, a brilliant stint. Is that one of the hardest stints you ever had to do in terms of concentration and hitting your marks and just communication backwards and forwards with the wall?
Yeah, you know, it was absolutely very taxing. We had a lot going on.
I think that might be the understatement
you know,
of the year.
When you hear go as fast as you can, conserve, and we've got a pretty decent lead, but they're catching you. What do you take from that?
Yeah, and you have to do everything we want you to do, but not burn fuel.
Yeah, but don't burn any fuel.
If you could make some fuel, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Somehow, you know, find some kind of catalytic conversion that you can actually make fuel out of your own sweat as you're going around you. That would be fantastic.
But as I said to Joe, I need for you, Joe, who is our strategist on the box, talking to me the whole time. He's like my blankie. And as long as I've got my blankie close and he keeps talking to me, I know I trust him. So, you know, all the TGM guys did an amazing job, and so happy for everybody.
Got so close to the end, and then the yellow flag comes out. Was that a help in terms of your fuel, so that it gave you a little less worry on the fuel? But of course, it packed the field up as well. So, and you were on tyres that were getting on for an hour old at that point.
Yeah, I think the guys that took on fresh rubber with that stop, obviously that gave them not so good track position, and us with an older tire but little less fuel, you know, the yellow actually helped us. It helped us a lot. We probably would have had to stop again without that yellow. So we got very lucky with that, and you know, finally a little luck came TGM's way this race.
That's a good point.
So
yeah, you've certainly earned that slice of good fortune, you, I must admit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the first one of the year after 3 pole positions for your car. Do you feel that's a bit of a weight lifted off the shoulders now?
It is, absolutely. Whenever you can kind of prove to the world, prove to this very competitive field that, you know, we're back, we can do this again and again, as Owen continues to prove, being so fast on that opening stint, it really puts me in a good position.
Serious question, because you've done both. Do you get more out of a race if the whole race goes perfectly, you start on pole and you drive away, and everything works perfectly, and you go, great, that was a great race, everything was executed perfectly, or you had to scrap for it like you did today, and you really had to make the difference in the last 15, 20 minutes, as you had to do, closing that out? Which do you prefer?
Well, you know, a win is a win to me, and you know, the win that we had last year, that was a really kind of that was pretty awesome for Mercedes, their first win in North America. You know, really this win was for TGM and kind of bringing the win back to us. So, you know, really this feels actually better than last year, which is pretty awesome.
Well, you worked hard for it. Well done. And the season starts right here now.
Yeah,
Reset,
this is
start
it.
again.
This is it.
This is it.
Can we restart the season? Absolutely.
Now, you've been watching this WeatherTech race as well. No lack of competitiveness here as well, but that's what you expect on a circuit like this.
Yeah, unbelievable. These guys are really getting after it. Obviously, the Porsches.
Yeah, change of position there for 4th position, and here it is, number 66 car squeezing past 25.
They like it there, the Fords, don't they?
Side by side.
Through the left-hander at turn 3. That is pretty aggressive driving again from the 66 as it went through into 4th position. So it's 2 Porsches from 2 Fords, from a BMW, 2 Corvettes and a BMW. And now can the Fords chase down the 2 Porsches? The Porsches went super long on fuel, so that means they've got better tyres right now. But when and how many more times do the Fords and the Porsches have to pit? The track condition looks pretty good. There's a build-up of rubber in the turn 5 area as they turn into the chicane. And here's an important moment as the 67 from Ryan Briscoe is still hanging on to the 2 Porsches as they come again towards the back of Jesse Krohn to put a lap on that number 24 car, and that's going to be difficult. Is this an opportunity for Ryan Briscoe? But Ryan mustn't have too much longer in the car. Shea Adam is down by the Chip Ganassi pit.
We only have 2 drivers so far who have not participated in the Northeast Grand Prix. They are Richard Westbrook, the number 67 Ford, and he has now put on his balaclava, getting ready to take over that car. By the way, his shoes, they're not pink today. There will be no fuel saving from Westy by the looks of it. They're bright green. And the other driver who hasn't yet to drive is Patrick Long, the number 73 Park Place Porsche. So stand back from the fences for both of those guys.
That is literally an ace in the hole for the 73 Park Place Porsche team, sitting quite handily with Marco Seifried in 3rd position, and Pat Long, who was the qualifying lap record holder here till earlier on today in GTD. But I reckon he'll be quick towards the end. You'd think that this racetrack owes him something. He had a win in the bag here and had a tyre failure from a different tyre manufacturer that took him out of the lead of the race a couple of years ago. And in fact, that was last year. Ended up finishing in 8th position, Shea reminds me. But then won the next race at Road America. So sometimes racing karma does pay back rather quicker than others. Hugh Plum is with us in the broadcast booth, still relishing in the result from earlier on. Hugh, just how much does that do, not just to you two as the guys who drive? Ted's been in here as well. Guy Cosmore, who didn't get here to the wee small hours because he was delayed like Jeremy was, to the team back at the shop, the guys here. How much does getting the big trophy pull all that together and make everybody just want to go and do it again?
Yeah, obviously it does tremendous amount for all of us, you know, from the top down. But really, it kind of shows, you know, all the work and the preparation and the hard work comes before we even get to the track. So it's up for us to be able to kind of do what we do and do it well. But all of our preparation, all of our homework's done before we've gotten here. This is just a result of that.
We say it's a team game, and when we say that, some people just think we mean, well, because there's 2 drivers at some events, there's 3 drivers, but it's not just the drivers. And TGM, when you guys won the championship last year, that was a 2-car team that won the championship. Absolutely. Effectively, because everything was being shared between the 2 cars.
Absolutely, at all times. You know, we do work so well together as a team, and I think that's important. You know, from the coach to the owner to the quarterback to calling the shots, it's all kind of the same.
Do I detect there might be a bit of a party tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll have to tell us where you are. Hugh, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Carry on the winning race. It's Hugh Plum in the studio with us, with the rest of the TGM team who are hanging out because we've got the best aircon in here. And please feel free to stay around as we head into the last hour and 22 minutes. Sorry to remind you of the aircon. Shea Adam down there in the pit lane. We've had another few laps, Jeremy, where the strategies are still being played out. It's still green, an hour and 22 to go, so we're coming down to half distance here, and we couldn't move into the second half of the race. Still 2 drivers, as Shea said, who's not been in the car. That's the Ryan Briscoe's teammate, so that means that Richard Westbrook is going to get in fresh for the second half of the race. And this is an interesting tactic for the 67 Ford guys to effectively split the race into almost 2 halves. Yeah,
that's right. It is, and it certainly worked out in their favour in that first stint. They were able to move up into contention, but whether they can stay there that's the question. I mean, they're running all at the same pace. The leaders, there's about a second, 1.3, 1.4 seconds between the 2 Porsches and that Ford in 3rd place, but that gap is staying very, very constant. Unlike the in GTD, where that gap between Jerome Blakemolen and number 86 car, who's being pushed hard by Dennis Olsen in the number 9 Pfaff Porsche, that gap is coming down, well, quite quickly now. 9.4 seconds, 8.4, 7.8, 6.2, 5.2 last time around. And that battle is not going to be long at that rate before Jerome Blakemolen has his hands full. Not so long ago, John, that lead was over 11 seconds. It's now about half of that.
And Pat Long still to come in that car. A fresh Pat Long as well, who's just putting his balaclava on in the pit lane. and Corvette number 4, Marcel Fessler in the pits. This will be the penultimate. Now, that's only a single stint for Marcel. I wonder if he'll stay in the car or whether we'll double ollie to the end. Shea Adam is watching. Down at Corvette Racing. It's a new set of tyres for that car, but it's apparently no driver change.
No driver change, that is correct. They are doing 4 new Michelin tires on this car, but Marcel is staying in for yet one more stint. Now, he could go out there and run around for about 40 minutes, and then they put Ollie in for the last 40 minutes, which is still a possibility. But for now, Marcel continues to pilot the number 4.
And he leaves the pit lane through the RFID, comes out where? Oh, he's right out in front of the Ford that sweeps around the outside. That's the number 66 car of Joey Hand, who's putting a lap on him, and he does get through. Not too much fighting from Marcel, because he knows that that 66 car will be into the pits itself shortly. So the job now is for him to stay as close as he can. Our Porsche keys to the race. Track position. Well, Porsches have not given up the track position. The 912 fell behind for a moment or two, and they are going very, very long indeed, or at least they did on the first stop. Pit stops, and the strategy therein. Also, one of our Porsche keys to the race, and Shea Adam, the closest competition to Porsche, is now in the pit lane in the shape of the 67 Ford.
Oh boy, brand new Michelin tires for Richard Westbrook. That'll make the man who just had a birthday in between our last 2 events very, very happy as he's getting belted in. The fuel is still going on. Driver change, perfect. Wow. Okay, so they timed that fuel stop. That was a 21-second stop. They had a man with a stick to hit the fueler on the shoulder. Westy is rolling. He's rolling. Where are the Porsches? They're nowhere in sight, John. Westy is clear.
Well, that to me talks about track position. All about track position as part of our Porsche keys to the race, and they've got him out into clear air. Another one of our Porsche keys to the race, traffic and how to deal with it. Ryan Briscoe, remarkably looking very fresh indeed. Damp, but relatively fresh. That is a driver who has given his all. And remember how hard he fought to stay on the lead lap when it was Nick Tandy that was leading the race for Porsche. And that may well yet prove to be a very decisive moment. The 2 leading Porsches now. Here's another crucial point in the race, trying to put the 24 BMW another lap back, or a lap back should I say, as they come under the Bailey Bridge now. And is this a chance for Patrick Pilet perhaps to get past his teammate in the draft on the Sam Posey straight across the line under the Lime Rock Park Bridge? Just can't find the additional miles per hour to go through. 3 cars in the space that really should only be occupied by 1, quite frankly, as they come out a big bend and through the left-hander. And here comes Patrick Pilet beginning to look for alternative lines, because he knows his teammate is being held up, and this is playing at the moment in the hand of Joey Hand in the Ford GT. All right, he's 23 seconds back, but he's going to be able to make up some time. He made up 2 seconds on the Porsche's last lap around. That's what being in behind this number 24 BMW is doing, struggling with understeer, with push in that car since it went off early on. And this is now already just after 1 lap. This is becoming crucial for these Porsches to make this pass, Jeremy.
Yeah, this is interesting, isn't it? Because that number 24 car has been a sort of kind of thorn in their side there for, well, pretty much since the last round of pit stops, because they got that car back out on the lead lap after John Edwards had gone a lap down early on, and he was able to stay there, and he really didn't appear to be holding up the Porsches at that stage. But we'll see now whether the number 24 car does indeed hold up the race-leading Porsches.
Another 51-second lap by Joey Hand in second, by far the quickest car on the track at the moment. Only Marcel Fessler in the 51s for Corvette, the other driver in that 51-second bracket last time around. The 2 Porsches, 53.5s last time around, and they're doing 53.5s because Jesse Krohn is doing 53.5s, and they just can't seem to get round that BMW. And this could be the race right here. What is Richard Westbrook doing? 51.455 for Richard Westbrook, and that is the car that is the threat to these 2 Porsches. So do you pit the Porsches now, even if they're out of sequence, because they're being held up by a couple of seconds a lap?
Well,
they might have to.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you pit now. You can't reach the finish, so they really got to stay out for a while longer yet, I think, before they can think about coming aboard. But here's the battle. This is what I want to see: the battle for the lead in GTD. Yes, it's now a battle for the lead. Jerome Blankenhorn, not so long ago, led by 11 seconds. Now it's nothing. It's just a couple of car lengths, with Mario Farnbacher, the championship leader, right with him, and also right behind him is Dennis Olsen in that plaid Porsche, the Pfaff Motorsports car, and they're trying to put a lap on both the number 76 and the number 57, the McLaren and the Acura. Matt Plum and Catherine Legg, they are at the tail end of the lead lap in GT Daytona.
Sigh of relief on the Porsche pit road wall as Jesse Krohn heads to the pit lane. That's why they didn't come in. They knew the 24 car was heading for the pit lane shortly. Catherine Legg is not going... Catherine Legg is not going to want to try to fall off the lead lap, should I say. Now, that's a change of position as Dennis Olsen has gone through into second place in GTD. Olsen in the plaid Porsche, the Pfaff number 9 car, which didn't have the best opening to the weekend, was a little bit off the pace. Olsen rejoins, and was it just a little bit of a run wide from Mario? Yes, it was. Well, I think he might have got a little help there from Richard Westbrook, who was going through, and now goes past the 33 as well. That's the leading GTD car.
Wow.
Blinkermolen struggling for grip, Jeremy. You can see the way he's turning into the corners. He's having to... Now, Blinkermolen is an excellent driver, but he's having to modify his lines to drive around a handling issue. So he's losing grip.
Yeah, on lap 80, he led by 10 seconds over the second place car, which was that stage number 86 car. Now, 15 laps later, the gap is absolutely zero. And Dennis Olsen absolutely flying there. Mario Farnbacher, he's looking big picture here, which is championship, overall championship in GTD in the WeatherTech series.
That's a good point.
So, he doesn't need... That car behind him isn't a contender for the championship. But also, about 7 or 8 seconds further back, there's another 3-car battle for 4th place.
And they've got the leaders coming up behind them, the overall leaders. That 4th place battle, Marco Seefried, Bill Oberlin, Matty Campbell, 73, 96 and 91, Porsche, BMW and Porsche. Easy to spot the BMW, that's the blue and yellow car, and it's sandwiched in between 2 Porsches, the 73 dark grey. That is the Park Place car, and the 91 is the white and orange Wright Motorsports car. Now Porsche have, well, I was going to say Porsche have immediately picked their lap times up. They haven't really. They've dropped a couple of
No, they haven't at all. They've been running 53s on a consistent basis now for about the last 5 laps.
Well, and now of course they're stuck behind the number 14.
Well, they have been, those are the lap times they've been turning now. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 laps in a row, 53s. They had been doing mid-52s or 51s as well for a large portion of time. So you've got to be careful here.
Yeah, first of all held up by Jesse Krohn, and then by the number 14 of Jack Hawksworth, who's in his own battle, remember. Hawksworth in 7th position is trying to close down that 3-car battle just ahead. So now the Porsches have sprung that, but they've got 3 more cars. And in the background, the Ford GT is on the Sam Posey straight, just as the Porsches disappear round turn 1. And that is a 14.5-second gap for Joey Hand.
100 laps now in the books. Another 53.4 on that last lap. That's been consistent for the leaders here. Meanwhile, Richard Westbrook is turning some quick laps in number 67 car. He's just gone purple in sector 1. His best lap of the race, a 51 flat.
The top cars are together again in GT Daytona. First car off the lead lap, I think, is the 14 of Jack Hawksworth, and he's coming up on the battle for the lead. Blinkermolen has Olsen right with him, and then in behind there, Mario Farnbacher, 6 seconds further back, is that 3-car battle. This is absolutely fantastic stuff in both categories at the moment. With how is Patrick Pile managing to stay so close to Earl Bamber and not overheat his car? That is extraordinary stuff. Westbrook puts the fastest lap of that car's racing, that car being the 67 Ford, the light blue car, 51 flat. And now the 2 Porsches are back down, Jeremy, to their 52.5, 52 3/4 second mark. That's much more as we expected. But Westbrook has been charging back to them. Now, when Briscoe brought that car in, he was about 2 seconds maybe 2.5 seconds behind. I reckon now, on adjusted time, if the Porsches were to stop, they would give up the lead to Westbrook.
Yeah, I think you're right, absolutely. And Wesley's absolutely flying. He's got past Jan Magnussen in number 3 car. And yeah, no, he's absolutely flying right now.
The temperature just beginning to come over the top of the hump and down the other side. We started at 98 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 117 on the track at the green flag. And the Michelin engineer is telling us that it got up to around about 93 at 10 minutes before 4 local time, and 115 on the track. And now at the halfway point, it's 94 degrees in the air, 110 on the track. So coming down. So the question is here, Jeremy, who is going to have the car for the end of the race? Now, we saw at Sebring that Porsche did their homework perfectly and gave up a lot of time at the beginning. The car didn't work in the wet, but once they got to the end in the cooler conditions, man, that car was very good. Now here, they've had a good car at the beginning of the race. Who had the good cars this morning? BMW, but they're not quite there at the moment. In the cooler conditions, the BMW was very good this morning, but is still on the lead lap, crucially. Leaders in GTD, Catherine Legg desperately fighting to stay on the lead lap as Jerome Bleekemolen gets alongside the number 57 Caterpillar-sponsored Acura as they go through turn 6, and second and third are absolutely together. Then Jack Hawkswood right in there as well.
Whoa, and Dennis Olsen trying to get past Catherine Legg.
Swerving in front, and he had to go around the outside. Olsen wouldn't be denied. Catherine's already off the lead lap now, and now drops out of it and lets the other Acura go through, of course, to make sure that she didn't hold her teammate up there.
Yeah, but in the meantime, that battle for 4th place, that gap has come down because the lead pack, the 33 number 86 bottled up behind Catherine Legg there. All of a sudden now that pursuing trio, there's only 5 seconds behind the lead trio. So this is just a fabulous battle in GTD. Also, meanwhile, I'm keeping an eye on the gap from the Porsches back to number 66 car.
Yeah,
that's come down a lot. It was over 20 seconds. It's now 12.8 last time around.
Now, they've all got stops to make. The gap that's important is the 27 seconds back from the lead Porsche to Richard Westbrook. That, to me, Richard is the first car to have done 2 stops. Now, I can't believe the Porsches are going to do this race on just 2 stops. That would be extraordinary, and I just don't think it's going to happen. They're going to have to do another 10 or 15 minutes. They were in on lap 51. We're on lap 105 now, so they're due any time now, the Porsches. But that'll leave a splash at the end, Jeremy. Into the pit lane for Tom Blomqvist. And Shea Adam, this might be a function of the heat here.
I think it is. The crew planning to bring him in, but it didn't look like they wanted to bring him in this soon. Tom Blomqvist gets out of the 25 BMW. Connor De Filippi back into that car. This is the first GTLM car we've seen to do a second driver change, but it will not be the last. I promise you that. I've seen one of the boat guys who's planning to put back their original driver, and that car now has the team up on the wall, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is just yet.
Oh, go on.
Okay, it's a number 3.
Okay.
Antonio Garcia is getting back in. All hail the King of Spain.
Okay, thank you, Shea. Out comes the Blomqvist car now with De Filippi back in, and with 66, 67 minutes to go. I'm not sure. It's going to be tight. That's going to be tight for the GT Le Mans cars. I think you've got to get down under an hour to be really sure, and then you've got to hope that your tyres are going to hang out. The good news is that he's getting slightly cooler. Nick Tandy with the fastest lap of the race, 50.867. Not quite a new lap record. I have a feeling we might see that, though, coming towards the end of the race when it cools off a little bit. You need a 50.7, better than a 50.7 to beat the fastest lap set in a race a couple of years ago here at Lime Rock Park. Leaders embroiled in traffic again. And it's Marco Seefried who is ahead of them. He is in fourth position in GTD. Now, I'm not sure either the Porsches at the head of the field will know this, but he's pitting at the next time of asking. Matt Campbell now right in behind him there, with Bill Auberlin as well. Two Porsches in the BMW fighting in GTD, two Porsches fighting each other, and the massed ranks of two Ford GTs as Richard Westbrook now 20 seconds Westbrook now only behind the leaders, and that's not enough for their pit stop.
No, it's not, but the 67 car for sure has to make another pit stop
Short one.
after this.
Yeah, short one, agreed. Westbrook doing a cracking job. I can hear wheel hammers in behind, and that must mean then that Seefried is in the pit lane and Pat Long is about to go out in the 73 Park Place Porsche.
Correct, John, and also into the pit lane, the number 96 Turner Motorsports BMW, Bill Auberlin, getting a well-deserved new water bottle. It's actually more of a water bladder so that he can drink out of it as he's going, and it'll get smaller and smaller and not take up the same amount of space. Bill's pit stop just waiting on the fuel for the 73 Park Place Porsche, which came in just behind, just ahead of the Turner Motorsports BMW and will leave just behind. That was a fuel, tire, and driver change stop. Yep, that's Pat Long's helmet behind the wheel. It is also the rumble of the number 37 Corvette. Yeah, Magnussen bringing in the car that sat on pole 12 months ago, and Antonio Garcia, the guy who did that, is getting back aboard. Fuel and new Michelin tires there. We have a pit board swinging for number 14 Lexus. That's Jack Hawksworth. He will be staying aboard that car, getting fuel and 4 sticker tires. That's interesting. And we also have the 76 Compass McLaren in. Finally, a driver change there. Paul Holton taking over for Matt Plum, and the 48 Lamborghini is in. Fuel and tires there as well.
Coming together on the exit of turn 2 into turn 3. It's the number 14, sorry, the number 12 of Townsend Bell and Catherine Legg, who came together, both cars into the grassed area, but Havs continued. Catherine Legg's got damage and she's taking the shortcut up the uphill. It looks like right rear suspension damage there as the 25 BMW of Conor De Filippi gets round the outside of Townsend Bell, who stays out. Townsend was trying to fight his way back through. Hawksworth rejoins, and the GTD leaders in the pit. Oh, the lead, second place car's off. Patrick Pilet's gone off at the first corner at Big Bend, and he's dropped down behind his teammate. There's damage to the left front of the car. So drop time there, and this Porsche are handing Ford this win here if they're not careful. Questionable tactics, certainly, and here comes Joey Hunt in the 66. He's got Pilet in sight now. They've got to keep Pilet surely now, split the strategy.
And in GTD, the number 9 car's just got out ahead of the number 33, I think.
That's the Porsche ahead of Bleekemolen. Let's just work out what's happening here. Bamber's gone through a long time ago. So it was the Corvette sliding through. No. Well, a big sideways moment for Marcel Fessler as he was trying to stay ahead of the Porsche. He came alongside. The 912, I think, got by without any problem. Car coming out of the pit lane was the 76
yeah,
McLaren.
But he did nothing wrong, I don't think. There was plenty of room on the outside. I think the number 911 car just got kind of distracted by the McLaren came out of the pit lane, just ran wide.
There was a very sideways Corvette in there as well. Marcel Fessler driving that car and was completely backing it in. Looked like a MotoGP rider. All kinds of damage to the front and the back of the Porsche number 911. And surely, with an hour and a minute to go, that's their chance of victory gone. Flash of the headlights now from the BMW behind it. So that was a very interesting moment, and the pass for the lead in GT Daytona round the outside of the 33, the FAF car going round the outside. That was also a Big Bend, the 86 sitting in behind.
Well, the number 9 car had come out ahead of the number 33, I'm sure. But the 86 car is ahead of both of them now after that round of pit stops.
Right, so maybe
sure,
that was earlier on. Must have been earlier on.
Okay.
My apologies.
No.
66 Ford into the pit lane.
Yeah,
Joey Hand.
great run.
Fuel and tires for Joey Hand, and he's got stickers at his favorite track in the world that he won at, 12 months ago. So everybody else better watch out for that 66.
Spot on an hour, Jeremy. Do you think the Ford could do an hour?
Potentially. I'm sure that's the plan because the great strategists there at Ford Chip Ganassi Racing. They've split their strategies on their 2 cars this race.
Peel in. It's going to be a new set of Michelin tyres. Shea Adam is watching this one. They can't go to the end from here.
Yeah, they do not have a new tail section or anything to try and repair the right side of the car that is broken in the rear. For Patrick Pile in the 911, they will need to clear out the grille though, and the mechanic does that right now, as there were a few flowers in the front of that, just a little bit of grass.
4 tyres or 2?
That was 4.
Right.
Just the Porsche car. And there's Patrick.
Look, John, if you say the Porsches go from here, I'm absolutely sure the Ford could go from here as well. So no doubt in my mind about that.
Well, the Porsches have done 63 laps, and that's going to be a bit less than what you'll do. I don't think anybody else has done anywhere near that on a stint. The 912 is out in front of the 66. That's crucial, absolutely crucial. But can he hold on? And so the 912 out in the lead, or in the lead still, with a lap on Joey Hand, and trying to hold that lap as Joey Hand gets up the inside. The BMW's right there as well, but that is the 25 car, and that is scrapping for position. Surely the Porsche comes in this time around. Let those 2 guys go, Earl. And he peels off. No, he doesn't. Stays out. And that means that Richard Westbrook is right there. Westbrook on the lead lap is now right with the Porsche. What are they doing?
Yeah, no, lead lap is right with it. That is the battle for the lead.
Half a second. That's what I'm saying. He's on the lead lap and he goes up the inside, straight through. But he's on the wrong side for the left-hander at turn 3. They head to 4. That will be advantage back to Westbrook. He goes through. And for the first time, Ford leads. They've left Bamber out too long. He was a sitting duck there. Sitting duck. Now, Westbrook pitted on lap 93. Only 21 seconds of fuel for Westbrook. Surely that car's got to stop again. Maybe he has put the pink fluffy slippers on, but if he hasn't, Shea Adam, he better have put his lead sole boots on, because he's got to get his foot down right now.
He put on his Go Fast shoes today, John. They were not fluffy pink bunny slippers. They were, I'm going to pedal this thing as fast as it possibly can. Brad Goldberg, the lead engineer of that car, sitting in the catbird seat for today's race, a seat normally occupied by Mike Holt. So he's definitely feeling the pressure. Earl Bamber comes into the pit box and hits his marks, fuel, and those are shiny Michelin tires, but they don't look completely brand new. They're missing the stickers at the very least. The rear tire change is going much faster than the front tire change. It is 4 tires for this car, as they have completed the tire change. It is still up on the air jacks though, waiting for the fuel nozzle. There we go. Car drops off the air jacks. Okay, let me look behind and wait and see. Earl's revving it, not leaving yet. Now he goes. Patrick Pile is by. And the Ford of Richard Westbrook is, well, that's the Ford of Joey Hand that Earl Bamber is now going to have to do battle with.
Yeah, but the key thing on that was his teammate went through. So Patrick Pile, who'd lost all that time, has gone through, and now the 911 is battling for 4th position with Joey Hand, the 912 rather, is battling for position with the 66, and that's for 3rd and 4th and 5th position. Wow. But that has to be, if Porsche has any chance at all, that has to be the last stop for both of those Porsches. Has to be the last stop for both of those Porsches. And they've got to hope that Richard Westbrook can't go to the end from there.
No, I'm pretty sure he can't.
And that means that Fassler can't go either, because Fassler's 2 laps worse off.
Correct. So the 66 car, that's the big threat to Porsche right now, because that came in just
4 laps ago.
Yeah, just 1 lap before the 911. Number 912 car stayed out there those extra 3 laps despite the fact he was leading the race. So one would have thought perhaps using a little bit less fuel, but there's certainly a good margin now for number 67 car. It's going to have to make another stop, but the pace he's running, 51.7 now with the fresh tyres, those cars behind him are going to be able to run pretty quickly. But this is a fascinating race right now.
Yeah, they would have, I think, would have liked to have got the 66 car ahead of the two Porsches. Our Porsche keys the race. Track position. The strategies are all over the place here for the pit stops.
Yeah, I love the fact that they're all splitting their strategies. 38 seconds between first and second. Second being Marcel Fessler now in number 4 car.
But the key number, Jeremy, is 42 seconds between Richard Westbrook and Patrick Pilet in the 911 Porsche, who is the first of the two Porsches, which we believe will they have to go to the end from there. So Pilet, 48 seconds. That's the magic number, and that is a pit stop.
Right. And Patrick Pilet has just turned the fastest lap of the race, a 50.757.
So close to a lap record.
It is a lap record by 0.023 of a second over the Corvette from last year. But what a great race this has been, and it is not over yet. This is just fascinating. Of course, Westbrook now on older tyres. I would say bring that car in pretty soon. And make its final stop, and don't stay out there on old tyres. I mean, he's going to be able to run faster, but we've seen the Porsche running quite a long way in good pace. So last lap around for the race-leading Richard Westbrook was a 51.7 again. That's a really, really good lap.
Yeah, he's, 20 laps into his stint, a little more than that, 27 laps into his stint, so not even a third, or about a third of a way through a stint, probably.
He could run.
Yes, but he doesn't want to.
You're right.
What they've got to watch is the gap to Pilet,
Correct.
and as soon as it starts getting tight for a quick splash of fuel and 2 tyres, which is what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to just fuel them to the end, and no more than that. And if they can get 2 tyres done, great. If it's a bit longer, then you put 4 tyres on. This is brilliant stuff. Just as much hard work going on the pit walls here as going on behind the wheel. Let's just take a breath for a moment. I'll come back to GT Le Mans in a second. Here's how it is in GT Daytona. Mario Farnbacher has somehow managed to hold off Dennis Olsen. Olsen's now dropped away by about 1.5 seconds, and they are 7 seconds ahead of the Mercedes of Jerome Blakemolen, who's now under pressure from Bill Oberlin. 86 and 9, then a little bit of a gap, then the 33 Mercedes, the wins car, ahead of the 91, ahead of the 96, excuse me, the blue and yellow of Turner Motorsport. Then it's Matt Campbell in the 91. That's the white and orange Porsche, the right car. Pat Long now in the race for just over an hour when he went into that car, and he's been set on full stun. Pat Long, 52.6 last time around. One of the faster of the GT cars, other than Bleekemolen. Him and Bleekemolen running about the same. That's the top 6. So the 73 Park Place Porsche. Now, Fessler in the mix at the moment, but still has to make one more stop. What will the Corvette racing team do?
Yeah, they're not. I don't see them as a contender for the win here, but I do see the number 67 car very much in it. And the number 911 car, there's 8 seconds all of a sudden between those two cars, primarily as a result of that mistake by, what was it, Nick Tandy, wasn't it, before he handed over to Patrick Pilet, wasn't it? Was it Nick?
No, it was
Patrick. It was Pilet, beg your pardon, Nick. But as a result of that's the main reason that gap is as big as it is. But number 66 car...
Well, Pilet's ahead of Bamber. Pilet's ahead of Bamber. He came in early. They came early and took the performance advantage from the tyres by 3 laps, and that was enough.
Wow.
That was enough. So
yeah, and the reason for that is because I talked about, didn't I? The fact he was doing 53s and 54s.
Yeah.
I said that was the danger of staying out too long, and they brought number 911 car. And you're right, in those 3 or 4 laps, that's that 8 seconds right there. But Richard Westbrook with 53 that last time around. He lost him
traffic.
A second and a half.
Lots of traffic, and lots of it. Lots of GTD traffic. In fact, it's the battle between Bleekemolen and Bill Oberlin that he was fighting his way through. Bleekemolen, Oberlin and Matt Campbell. The bad news for the guys in GTD, the great for GT Le Mans, and the great news for us is there's quite a lot of GTD battles that are clumped together in little 2 and 3 and 4 car groups. Yeah. And when the leaders come round to them, it's not as if they can just get past one car and go, thank goodness I've only lost 2 seconds that lap. They're losing 2 seconds, 3 seconds a lap for 3 or 4 laps. And 10 seconds can disappear in the blink of an eye. Well, okay, it has to take 10 seconds to disappear, but you know what I'm saying. It can disappear in 3 or 4 laps because there's just no way to get by. Earl Bamber's put his fastest lap and the fastest lap of the race, the 9:12, in now that he's got his Michelin tyres up to temperature. Well, we gave you the rundown in GTD. Here's how it is in GT Le Mans.
All of a sudden now, Dennis Olsen is right with Dominic Farnbacher.
Yeah. No, he's been there for a while.
Well,
yes, he was a second and a half away, and now he's half of that. Yes, you're absolutely right. He's back. He's back. Has he been taking a little breather at IMSA Radio? Phew! Absolutely brilliant stuff, breathless stuff with 50 minutes still to go. Here's how it stands. I'm going to give you the last pit stops as well to give you an idea of where we are. 50 minutes to go. Richard Westbrook leads for Ford, the 67 light blue car with the red stripes on, the fantastic throwback heritage livery to Le Mans in 1966. He has completed 125 laps. He last pitted at the end of lap number 92. And second, Marcel Fessler for Corvette, last pitted at the end of lap number 90. He's about to come to the line now, and he's 37 seconds behind the leader. Patrick Pilet is a further 1 second back. He last pitted on the end of lap number 113, and we think he's the first car that can go to the end. His teammate Earl Bamber is 7 seconds further back in the 912 Porsche. He pitted on lap 117. So if Pilet is okay, then Bamber is okay. The question mark will be over Joey Hand in the Ford GT, number 66, who's another 3.7 seconds further back from... No, say that again. He is 1.2 seconds further back. It was the Earl Bamber time I got back. He's 6.9 seconds away from his teammate. And Joey Hand pitted at the end of lap 112. Marginal, I would say, if we stay green to the end. And we still have 48 minutes to go, so we've still got something like 45, 47 laps to go at the lap times that they're putting in, possibly even getting on to 50 laps to go.
And 38.4 seconds the gap as they complete lap 127, or 126 actually, between number 67 car, the leader, and the pursuing Corvette, and now on his tail is Patrick Pilet. So Pilet will want to get past that Corvette if he can.
Sharp order.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That could be
I'm sure
the race.
Marcel is going to say, yeah, great idea, off you go.
Well,
but look, my point there is the gap between number 67 and the 4 car has stayed just about constant, John, despite the fact that Westbrook came in to his pit stop, 34 laps ago, not 92 he made his pit stop, and he's still running a really good pace.
Fessler's been impressive this weekend, had a lot of time in the car, team have been sensible. The gap between Westbrook and Pilet now down to 40.1 seconds, to Bamber 45.6, and 46 seconds to Joey Hand. That's your top 5 within 46, 47 seconds, let's call it. Right in front of the leader, someone's gone off.
Oh, wow.
And he just goes through the dust and doesn't have to worry about it. Somebody got very sideways indeed. Was it the BMW? Was it Jesse Kron? It might have been, I think it was. Looks like he's just getting back up to speed. There's also a bunch of GTD cars coming up after the checkered flag. It's the Michelin post-race tech show. Checkered flag ends the race but starts the conversation this weekend. Let's have your questions, observations, points arising, please. The hashtag is Michelin PRT for post-race tech, Michelin post-race tech at IMSA Radio. Jeremy, Shea and I, we'll get Shea straight back into the booth so she can get some of our aircon.
No, then my sweat would dry and it'd be really icky.
Okay.
I just wanted to give you guys something to watch out for. Patrick Long is catching Matty Campbell out on the racetrack, and Patrick has long sang the praises of Matt. What's it going to be like when the two of them are racing against each other on track?
Well, now there's 4 cars within a couple of seconds of each other. Bleekemolen, Oberlin, Matty Campbell and Pat Long are within 2 seconds of each other, and that's the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Jack Hawksworth is only another 7 seconds further back, so if they start tripping over each other, the GTD battle for the 3rd spot on the podium at least could go anywhere. Mario Farnbacher and Dennis Olsen tied together as they go across the start-finish line with a very short piece of bungee cord, and then the leader is catching them as well. And right out in front of the leader from the pit lane, the 63 of Tony Villander has just made another pit stop.
So around the outside goes West. This is a brilliant drive by Westbrook. He's extended that lead over the last 3 laps by 3 seconds over number 4 and the number 911 that are battling over second place.
Well,
this is fascinating.
Ford and Corvette, bitter rivals, but in the battle for second position, Marcel Fessler and Corvette Racing searching for their 100th win on North American soil. They might be doing Ford an absolute solid here in holding up those Porsches in 2 ways. One, because Westbrook is getting time to make his final pit stop, and Joey Hand is closing back in again on the 2 Porsches.
Yeah, just 3 seconds. He was 5 seconds just a handful of laps ago.
Well, marvellous stuff. 45 minutes to go, everybody. Take a deep breath. Just relax and breathe.
This is just fascinating. It's a great game of chess right now. And the longer west you can go and keep this pace up, then he'll have fresh tyres to really put the hammer down in the closing stages. We're inside 45 minutes now to go in this race.
Now they're in the window, Shea Adam. They're in the window, and Chip Ganassi Ford GT.
They're looking out the window, they're seeing how clear it is, and Richard Westbrook will be coming into the pits within about 5 laps to get new tires and fuel.
I like that call. I like that call. He's got some traffic in front of him. Now, they might even bring him in earlier, Shea, because he's got the battle for the lead in GTD ahead of him, and if he doesn't clear them this lap, I think they might bring him in, because he's been gaining time the last couple of 3 laps on the chasing group, and in particular on the 2 Porsches and the second of the Fords, that's what he's really battling against. Just a little bit of water vapour coming out of the back of the Ford GT. We've seen that happening before. Don't think it's anything to worry about. Westbrook through the uphill, flashes his light, and Faf Porsche flashing the light on the leader. He's dropped back from them. I don't think he's going to go through. I think he's coming in this time around. Peels off to the right. This is the race right here as he comes into the pit lane, gets down to the pit lane speed limit, releases the brake. Nice entry into the pit lane. And Shea Adam has the leader. It'll be all about how quick they can turn him round. And Shea, they've got to get the calculation for the fuel right.
Left side tires only, John, going on this car. Oh no, they have pulled a blinder. They are going to do all 4. They just had the left sides up on the wall, but they are doing all 4. And there is the trusty broomstick handle. It is in hand, and as soon as the order has been given, oh no, the fuel nozzle has come out and the tire change not yet done. The right front was slow. Westy puts it into gear and does a nice exit.
And he's still going to come out in the lead because Fessler's not around yet. Fessler's done the job for Ford. He's held up the Porsches enough. They're going to be close though. Here he comes. Fessler, that little slip might have been costly. It's massively costly. Fessler sweeps through. Then goes Pele. Bamba's gone through as well. That little slip with the right front wheel has cost them dearly. And Fessler gives up the lead as well as Pele tries to get through, does it? Going into the right-hander. Pele had to go offline though, and he's got dirty tyres now. So that's a big swap around. Ford timed it about perfectly, but the right front tyre that came off fell back into the wheel arch, into the gap where the tyre changer was trying to put the new wheel, and he had no free hands to move it out the way. Cost maybe 3 or 4 seconds. The time for the fuel was spot on, and that's cost them the lead. And in our Porsche Keys to the Race, we said track position would be key at the start and the end of the race. It is. A second position now up for grabs, and through goes Earl Bamber, and the Porsches are restored to 1 and 2 and will run to the end. The Corvette will need to stop one more time. The 2 Fords in behind, well, Westbrook certainly doesn't have to stop. Joey Hand may be on the cusp.
2 hours of racing down 134 laps, 2.7 seconds, covers the top 5 cars in this race. This is absolutely superb. The 2 Fords right there, I mean, those are the top 5 cars in the same picture as they head through the uphill It's the West Bend, isn't it? Coming down the hill now, down through the diving turn. This is just a tremendous race. And now for Westbrook, he wants to make sure he gets past Marcel Fessler as soon as he can. Look after those tires. Don't put too much stress on them too soon. But it's a good opportunity here for Ford. But that was a great move by Patrick Pilet to get that
and
advantage.
off has gone Marcel Fessler. The tyres have called enough. And he's gone off at West Bend. He's got to come in now, and I presume, Adam, the Corvette Racing, still in search of its 100th victory on North American soil, will have Ollie Gavin take that car to the end.
That is correct. He is putting on his helmet right now. They're not going to bring him in this lap. They're not prepared for him to come in quite so soon.
Have to.
But he will be coming in soon thereafter. No, the crew's not up on the wall, John.
I think they're going to have to. I think the tyres have gone. He just fell off the road there. Nothing that Fessler could do. He's dropped down to 5th position. He's got the 2 Fords have gone through. Connor de Philippe's now the next car behind him. So the 2 Porsches streak across the line. 9:11 from 9:12. That's Patrick Pilet and Bamber. 1.5 seconds. Then another second further back. Richard Westbrook with by far the fresher tyres. But he's got to judge when to make those tyres count for him. The second Ford, he's in there as well, the 66. Joey Hans driven brilliantly today, by the way. Absolutely brilliant in difficult conditions. So Westbrook came in, and that was the right thing for the Ford team to do, because the number 4 Corvette had been holding up the Porsches. The left-hand front goes on fine. The right rear goes on fine. The left rear goes on fine. The left front, the man on the tyre, basically, the tyre that came off rolled into his way and cost a couple, 3 seconds, maybe. But that was enough. We said pit stops in the Porsche keys to the race, and maybe 4 seconds. But that's all it needed, Adam, to make the difference.
That's all it takes in racing, as we very well know. The number 4 Corvette rumbles in. They do bring Marcel Fessler in. This time, it is a full service. They are doing 4 new Michelin tires, and these are new. And Oliver Gavin reinstalled into the car. Marcel Fessler gives him a little pet on the shoulder as he jumps out of the car and goes back over the wall. The driver change assistant is hard at work, plugging in Ollie's helmet and putting the left shoulder strap down. As we are done with the tire change, just waiting on fuel, and nope, just waiting on the driver change at this point. So now it's as fast as Ollie can go, which, let's face it, is pretty darn fast.
Nice getaway from Ollie Gavin as he pulls out back into the fray. And he will drop down, of course, and comes out, I reckon, I think he dropped down to 7th position, actually, after that. That's the extra pit stop they really didn't want on that car. Richard Westbrook and Ford with the 3 pit stops as well, but they have played the game perfectly well.
But look, Westy is now right with Earl Bamber, isn't he? And the top 3 cars separated by less than 2 seconds as they came across the line last time around.
So there's 2 games going on here, one of pure pace at the front of the field in terms of the 911 of Patrick Pilet and the 912 Porsche of Earl Bamber, trying to stay ahead of the flying Ford of Richard Westbrook. But Westy has got newer tyres, so he will be trying to push the 2 Porsches to use the Michelin rubber that they've had on for fully 20 laps, more than his, and use them up. Now, by the same token, Earl Bamber will be trying to make Richard Westbrook try too hard in the early laps and use his tyres up to equalise the performance of the 2 sets of Michelins.
Yeah, but for Earl Bamber's job right now is just to keep that Ford behind him. If the number 911 car pulls away, that's fine. I mean, it's team strategy. He'd love to win the race, of course, but right now it's down for that number 912 car to hold up the Ford. Because if the Ford gets past, then it really is going to be game on for the battle for the lead. But being behind him, that's going to be making it a lot more difficult. And just a slight fumble there, that's all it took. 1, 2, 3, cost him at least 3 seconds.
5. Yeah, and the thing was that the hose was out. The hose was out from the fuel, and that is dead time. My goodness me. When we started, in our Michelin countdown to green, our keys to the race, Porsche keys to the race, Tyres, well, that ones will still play out at the front of the field. Traffic, see above answer. Track position, well, that has been key all day today, and Porsche have worked that pretty well. Pit stops. And for the moment, advantage Porsche there. But Richard Westbrook is not about to let that fumble by the Ford Chip Ganassi team dull his charge. Not quite close enough into the first corner as they complete another lap. 141 on the screen. Oh, big dark lines behind Earl Bamber's car through the first part of the track, and he's got to drive almost down the middle of the road here. Pilet's not getting away. Remember, Pilet stopped 3 laps earlier than his teammate, so he is 20 laps worse off on tyres than Richard Westbrook.
Yeah.
We're fairly certain the Porsches can go to the end in terms of how many laps there are in the tank. They've been extremely frugal around here, but that's assuming that they don't have to run at full rich and full flat out all the time. So that's another job that Richard Westbrook's got to do, while all the time, Jeremy, balancing how much he's taking out of those new tyres that he's got.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
But it is brilliant. And I love how the different strategies has brought us to this point in the race. But that's also why I say Earl Bamber's job right now is just to make sure there's no room for that Ford to squeeze its way through.
He has to drive fast enough to keep the Ford behind him. I think he's going a bit too quickly at the moment because he's actually catching his teammate, and both of them.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's actually going too quick at the moment, or somebody's got to tell Pilet to turn the wick up a little bit.
51.7 last time. That's a good pace. I mean, the fastest lap of the race was a 50.7. It's about a second away from that.
Traffic ahead of the 3 leaders, make that the 4 leaders, because Joey Hand is only a couple of seconds off this battle and could pounce, could be a help to Richard Westbrook. Joey, we think, is going to be a tad light on fuel.
Well, he came in at pretty much the same time as the Porsches.
1 lap before.
One lap before, but I mean, the Ford's always been pretty frugal, hasn't it? So I would be surprised. Yeah, well, I mean, not sure about that, but.
The eco part of the EcoBoost, as Shears rightly said, in that V6 engine amidships in the spaceship-like Ford on this moon landing weekend. We're not forgetting about GT Daytona. That's been outstanding. And Dennis Olsen has not been further away than half a second from the back of Mario Farnbacher for about the last half an hour, it seems. Extraordinary stuff. The 86 and the 9 are just having at it, hammer and tongs. Jerome Blakenmolen has dropped back to nearly 9 seconds away now, with Bill Oberlin also having eased his pace. He's 4 seconds further back. Acura 86, Porsche number 9, then the gap back to Mercedes, the 33, then the BMW number 96, ahead of the 91 from Matt Campbell and Pat Long right in there. So Oberlin, Campbell and Long, not a firm of solicitors, are absolutely together. Here's the opportunity.
Oh, no.
Wrong side of the track for the 67. Can he squirt down the inside into the right-hander at turn 4? Answer, no, he can't.
He can't, but we've seen it go around the outside of cars there, haven't we, earlier in this race. That car has really good grip. It's working very, very well. I was talking to Joey Hand just this morning. He was telling me the key to their success last season, number 66 car a year ago, the key to that success, he said, was how good the car was on its tyres in the closing stages. It's a different tyre they're running this season on that car from Michelin. Still Michelin, but a different tyre, different construction slightly. And so they've had to learn about that, but certainly this is just with 32 minutes remaining. I think the top 3 are absolutely nose to tail. And Joey Hand himself, he's only a couple of seconds back in the 4th position. He's getting awfully tempted there, isn't he, Richard Westbrook, to make a lunge?
Yeah. GTD leaders. A couple of people, including Right Turn Lover, have tweeted in at IMSA Radio to say, how did Farnbacher and Olsen get past Blakenmolen? One was in the pit stops and one was just after, I believe.
How did what? Number 86, yes. The 86 car came out of the pits ahead. Well, look, I mean, the reason for that is it needed a good bit less fuel, because remember on the first stint, the fact that the number 86 car stayed a lot longer than everybody else. On the second stop, it had a lot less fuel to take on board than the other leaders in GTD.
Something's happened on the front straight. I can see people pointing and looking down there. Porsche.
Patrick Pilet went off at the end of Big Bend.
Went off at the end of the final corner. There's a huge dust cloud. I can see people pointing that way. And now the top three are absolutely together. So Pilet overcooking the run into turn 7. He's right in behind Jack Hawksworth now. And that's holding him up. Here comes Joy Han, top 4, separated by 2.5 seconds. After 2 hours and 10 minutes of racing, 30 minutes left, and anything can happen in the next half hour. Anything can happen. Ford and Porsche doing the job here this weekend. In GTD, Acura, Porsche, Mercedes, BMW, all scrapping. Across the line, Bamber goes through. Pilet had lost the lead. Pilet did lose the lead then. So it's Bamber that's gone back to the front. Oh, what drama between the two Porsches. So now it's Pilet who's got to try and hold up Westbrook. Pilet with the damage to the car. That's twice that Pilet has been off on the grass. I think he just overcooked it.
He's weaving around.
Coming down the final run, and he was defending as he's told there was a touch between teammates.
What's going on? It looked like he was letting the, allowing the number 912 car to go through there, didn't it?
Well, that was all started by the mistake coming out of the turn 7 downhill turn, and Pilet had to get right up on the curb there and still touched his teammate.
Man.
And Richard Westbrook must have been going, "Go on, guys, have at it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Have a go. Have a go." But there was definitely a couple of little dings there. Oof. There's no doubt that Pilet and Tandy won that 3rd win of the year to tie it on points.
Yeah, no, okay, fine. So I think the number 911 car, I think, is struggling right now, and I think they made that move on purpose. I think they allowed Bamber to go through and lead the race, and now Patrick Pilet is going to try and hold up these two Fords. I think that was strategic, yeah, absolutely no doubt about mine.
Well, it was predicated by the fact, it was predicated by the fact that Pilet was almost all 4 wheels off coming out of the final corner.
True.
He was actually on the grass, bouncing on the grass. So maybe that at that point the call was made, don't fight too hard. Now, the Ford of Joy Han is right there as well. We think he needs a little splash, but it might not be the worst thing to do to let Joy go through and give the Porsches a bit of hassle.
Yeah.
He's got to come in. Pilet will be cursing his luck here.
Well, yes. I'm not so sure he didn't sense, though, or the team sensed that number 912 car was faster at that stage, in any case.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane. 66. Last in on lap 113. That was 1 lap before the Porsche of Patrick Pilet. Are they going to try to go to the end?
Yeah, they're not coming back in. They said, no, our job's done for the day.
Okay, feet up, ice creams out for the 66 Chip Ganassi Ford team. So that's a genuine battle then. 2 Porsches versus 2 Fords. Conor De Philippi upholding the BMW honour in 5th position. Still on the lead lap. Garcia and Gavin in that order 3 and 4, which is the best way around for the championship, of course. With Garcia and Magnussen in 3rd position. We've still got 27 minutes to go here, Jeremy.
Yeah.
It's like every lap's the last lap, isn't it? The way these guys are going at us.
It is a bit. It's just been a fabulous motor race. And still in GTD, that's still pretty close as well. Far back and leads by less than a second over Dennis Olsen, who's made a fantastic, not debut because he drove for the team at Daytona, but it's been a really good run. And there's a bit of a gap back now to the number 33 car of Johan Bleckemar, but it's only 7 seconds back. And then just a couple of seconds behind him, that battle for what is now 4th place, number 96, 91 and 73 car is pretty much there as well.
It's the BMW, the blue and yellow car of Bill Oberl and Matt Campbell in the white and orange 91 Porsche, and Pat Long in the grey Porsche, and they are all within a second and a half, let's call it. And still all that time, something like 30 laps to go there. So the 911 was catching the Lexus, but he wasn't close enough. And yeah, all 4 wheels off the track. And that was why he was slow down the straight. He immediately goes to the right-hand side after the mistake. And that was the opportunity for the pass to be made by his teammate. But I tell you what, Pilet didn't make it easy at all.
I tell you what, he was lucky
not
there.
the spinnies.
Well, he really was.
Both.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing. So I think his car isn't working quite as well now. 51.6 last time around for the race leader.
And don't forget, Patrick Pilet's been off already, and there's damage to the left rear of the diffuser on that car. He's also lost one of the dive planes on the left front. Meantime, the plaid Porsche goes across the line, still in hot pursuit of the leader, Super Mario Farnbacher. Dennis Olsen doing a great job, though, for Pfaff. Those two guys have not been a second apart for the last 40 laps. It's an extraordinary race that they're having. We'll be able to ask Dennis Olsen, Shay, at the end of this race, any question about what's on the back of that Honda NSX, Acura NSX that's ahead of him. He will know it off by heart. He will be, when he closes his eyes tonight, that will be burned into his retina. Live from trackside with 25 minutes to go in the Northeast Grand Prix. IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship at Lime Rock Park. IMSA TV and radio together on a beautiful early evening here in Connecticut. Just coming round to 5:30. We'll finish just before 6 o'clock, and then it's Michelin Post-Race Tech taking your questions now. Hashtag Michelin PRT to @IMSA Radio, please. And let us know what you're taking out of this race. What have you seen? What are you commenting on? With Porsche leading in GT Le Mans, with GTD headed by Acura, but with Porsche right there, and Mercedes falling back into the clutches of Bill Oberlin. This is magnificent stuff in both classes. Bamber's got away just a little bit, 51.7 last time around, 52.2. So half a second back. Pilet is holding up Westbrook. He's doing the team job now, exactly as he has to do. Joey Hand's pace just dropped a little bit. Maybe he's doing a little bit of fuel saving at this point. Team have said, we're not going to be doing another stop. Leader comes down the inside of Oberlin. Puts a couple of cars between him and the fight for second. Well, this is going to be very interesting as Patrick Pilet, now coming out of Big Bend, has the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th in GTD right ahead of him, and Westy puts a wheel off on the outside of turn 3 going into turn 4. The Englishman now under pressure from his teammate, and the two Ford guys go at it as the two Porsche guys had done earlier. There's almost a touch going through the turn 5 uphill chicane. And that big rear diffuser on the Ford always looked very, very vulnerable to me. It sticks out a very long way. That must have been very close indeed for Joey Hunt to just knock off one of the corners of his teammate car ahead of him. Oh. I'm going to need a lie down in a darkened room after this one. Let's get the ice bath ready for Shay.
I love these all GT races, aren't
they?
Yeah, all of them recently have been absolutely stunning. And this is, I think this is the best one yet, actually. It's a fabulous race.
Yeah. VIR coming up later on in the season for another GT festival. A couple of weeks' time, we're at Road America with the prototypes shoehorned back into these battles, all live on IMSA Radio RS2. We'll have all of the action from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for you in a couple of weeks' time. The laps go by quickly here. Gap between first and second. Bamber a 53.2 and a 52.7 from Pilet, so that half second he lost, he now gets back in traffic. It's 1.7 seconds, but more importantly, it's half a second back between himself and the Ford, but Westbrook has closed up again. You've got to take chances now. Nobody can wait. Nobody can wait a moment. As Catherine Legg has a look at Paul Holton, they're battling for 10th and 11th place in GTD. Every little group of cars that they come up against are all battling for position. and Pele gets held up in the uphill, and here's the chance for Westbrook. He'll pull to the inside. Surely he'll have a go. Well, it's covered by Pele, so let's have a go. Oh, there's a touch right in front of them. Catherine Legge elbowing her way through on the Paul Holton McLaren, and that was right in front of the battle for second place, and off goes Legge.
I think she might have a puncture.
I think she has got a puncture, and somebody else went wide there. That was the 91 car of Matt Campbell. And through all that, did the Ford get past the Porsche? I don't think it did. No, it's dropped way back, and Pele's got breathing room. Hang on a second. Pele's scored 4th position across the line. No, Pele has dropped back. Pele has dropped back. Both the Fords have got through. So that must have been Bamber that was in the distance there. So a melee at turn 7, 6 and 7, and that has cost Patrick Pele.
Wow.
I think you pit Pele now.
Now 20 minutes to go.
Pit
Why?
Pele.
Why?
Put new set tyres on him.
No, he's not going to catch up from there. There's no way. There's only 20 minutes remaining in the race. What happened, though?
So Bamber gets through, and then
There he
Pele
goes.
goes wide again.
Yeah.
So Pele, second time, goes wide. So he was in behind the 33 of Bleekemolen and just got some aero push.
Yeah.
And he's way off.
Yeah.
He's way off, and both the Fords were right there. And Catherine Legge went off as well, and through goes the Corvette as well of Antonio Garcia, getting a lap back on the second place car. Woof. Pele are beginning to think now that the 911, it's not there yet. Not there yet. Whoo-wee. Sebring and the Glen in the book for the top step of the podium for the number 911 crew, but not getting the rub of the green here again. Wow. So now down to 4th position, and well, he hasn't got enough time to pit now. He's only got 13 seconds on Connor De Philippi.
Okay, so now we need to watch the number 67 car. The gap was 4.3 seconds last time around. This one, it was 3.6 seconds. It was a 51.9 for Earl Bamber. Remember, he's been out there since in the number 912 car last made a pit stop at 116. He's now completed lap 160. Richard Westbrook just turned a 51.3 last time. That's only 3/10 away from that car's best lap of the race. 160 laps in the books.
Bamber will have to pick up the pace now. Let's see what his lap time is this time. He's had a pretty clear lap. And he comes to the line now. And that was a 51.8. 51.8 for Bamber. He's turned the wick straight back up, but a 51.4 for Westbrook.
Yeah.
Still took 4/10 out of him, and that was a big improvement for Bamber.
No, well, the previous lap was a 51.9. The one before that was a 52, but the laps before that, John, you're right, have been 53s. So he's got the message clearly. He knows what he has to do.
Got a Ford versus Corvette battle on the track that isn't for position, but Ollie Gavin won't care. He sees a blue oval ahead of him. He's going to race it. And that is the 3rd place car now. And Gavin trying to pick his way through. Ollie Gavin has been really quick since he got back in the car, and he can certainly go to the end and has new tyres on that car.
By the way, I didn't notice number 73 car has got ahead of the 91. So that is for 5th position in GTD. It's still Mario Fabek that leads by, well, about a second over Dennis Olsen in the number 9 Pfaff Porsche. Great run by them. 3rd position is Johan Bleekemolen. He's pretty much on his own, although Bill Oblin's only a second behind him now.
Correct, he's closed right up as Bleekemolen was involved in that schmozzle at turn 7. He was right in front of the leaders, and then they swept past him down the Samposi straight. Catherine Legge, by the way, got past Paul Holton, and Paul Holton, when Catherine went off, great save by Catherine, by the way. So Holton back ahead for 10th position now. Holton, Legge and Vielander 10th, 11th and 12th, with Townsend Bell's car bringing up the rear after the gearbox problems. But it has been running for quite a while now, that number 14 Lexus.
And once again on that last lap, half a second or more was pulled off the lead of Earl Bamber. 52.1 he did last time, 52 this time, 51.4 again for Richard Westbrook. 4 laps in a row. He's pulled in about 4 or 5/10 of a second. It's now less than 2 seconds between 1st and 2nd. Brilliant.
That was a massive exhale. 16 minutes to go.
You need an inhale, I think, at this stage, don't we? Probably.
I have to remember to breathe in. Yeah, you're right, Jeremy. Absolutely right. Just after 5:30 local time. And at the moment, we've got battles right through the field. Lexus RCF GT3. Been a good weekend for those guys. Hawks within 7th position in the 14th car, in the 14 car. Still on the lead lap of GTD. These long green flag runs. Farnbacher has pulled just over a second.
1.4 now only between the top two cars. 52 once again for our race leader. 51.8 for Richard Westbrook in second place.
And the GTD leader, for once, has more than a second between himself as the leaders are coming up to that battle for first and second in GTD. Through turn 5, the uphill chicane, and Earl Bamber needs to deal with the number 9 Porsche of Dennis Olsen. Surely they'd have been on the phone to Dennis, a Porsche young professional as they call them now, and said to him, you've got to let the leader through. Find a way to let him through and don't hold him up. They go across the line, gets through. Olsen stays to the right-hand side. Now can Bamber get down the inside of the GTD leader before turn 1? No, he can't. So that's going to hold him up. He's right there. The 67 Ford tries to go up the inside of the FAF car. Coming out the Big Bend, can't do it. Now, Dennis needs to stay as close as he can to the back of the Porsche in front and make that GTD car as wide as possible for the Ford. The blue flags are out, of course. Dennis in his own race, he'll want to give up as little time as possible, but if he could just hold up the Ford as well, that would be great, Dennis. That's what they'll be saying. And through in the Big Bend, the leader on the leader in GTD. So now Richard Westbrook will wait till the Sam Posey straight and then use the aerodynamics and the extra power of the Ford to go past the Porsche. That Porsche's quick in a straight line, though.
Certainly is, goodness gracious me.
Westbrook's going to have to do it on the brakes. Don't forget the ABS of the number 9 car. Olsen plays fair and gives him a width in the inside. Gave him a car's width, that's all he needs to do.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I don't think he'd get as much help from Mario Farnbacher, because Farnbacher won't want to go offline, Jeremy. He's out in the lead there of GT Daytona, and that has given a 1.5 seconds to Earl Bamber. The hydraulics making the noise. Farnbacher is all over the place when he gets on the power. He's really got to wait for the car to get straight before he can get the power on. The car's squirming around under load. Westbrook right up behind him now. And proof, as we saw a couple of laps ago, Jeremy, that those GTD cars do cause aero wash when Pele went off. Here comes Westbrook. He'll get him at the end of the Posey straight. He does.
Yeah, but all of a sudden that gap from first to second now is over 2 seconds again. So Westbrook has got it all to do again.
Apollo
and only
11
12
now.
minutes remaining.
Andy Lally in Apollo 11 is the next car for the leading Porsche to have to negotiate. Down to 12.5 minutes to go. Tell your friends, if they're not watching or listening, get tuned in now. This has been a cracker, and it's not finished yet. At the end of the race, we'll have Michelin post-race tech. Wow, we've got a few things to talk about tonight. Hashtag Michelin PRT at IMSA Radio. 12 minutes to go. It seems like time is going so slowly, I'm sure, for Earl Bamber, leader of the championship. Porsche leading the championship for manufacturers. And the gap's disappeared again as Earl Bamber has been unable to find a way past Andy Lally. Andy's doing nothing wrong here. He's in his own battle. 11th position for Andy Lally. Bamber's got to go up the inside, and he's got to do it now. Going into into West Brent, and he does. It's amazing.
How quick that Lamborghini is through the corner.
Well, and it's quick down the straights, Jeremy, as well. So it might give a little bit of a tour to the Ford. Wow, that Ford looks super planted through the final corner, by the way, even when it's in the aero wash from the other cars. And the gap that was 2.5 seconds is now down to half a second. 2 seconds on that lap alone for Westbrook as he chases down, all down to traffic. Traffic giveth, traffic taketh away.
83.96. The battle for third is on now in GTD with Bill Oberlin is now right with Jerome Leckermole and pretty close. Exactly. Nor is Manny Campbell there as well. About a second or so between each of those 3 cars.
Well, there's no sense in keeping anything back now. You've got to give it all. 10.5 minutes left, and here comes Westbrook. He got the run out the final corner. He's there. He's in the gap behind the Porsche. The Porsche pulls away though. But what are they going to be like on the brakes? I think the Ford's a little better on the brakes. That's Westbrook with a bit better tyre left at this stage, and here he comes round the outside of turn 2, switches to the outside of turn 3. He gets his nose ahead for maybe 10 feet, but that's all. There's an inevitability about what we're watching here. This is a Ford win. This is a Ford win, and Westbrook will know that. He knows he's got a fabulous chance here. The strategy has played the way of Ford. They've got the numbers right. The extra pit stop has worked. And all that time, sitting behind the Corvette for the 2 Porsches has handed this race to from Porsche to Ford.
Not yet. The Porsche still leads, for goodness sake. There's only less than 10 minutes to go.
He's going to get
catching and passing are 2 very, very different stories on this Lime Rock Park track.
That is true. I think he's just going to do him round the outside of one of these corners. He's up the inside now at Big Bend, and he's got to keep the car. Oh, there's a nudge. There's another nudge. Westbrook into the right rear end, and just in front of just behind the rear wheel. Let's hope there's no damage to either car there. I wouldn't like to see this ended by a puncture. Still that water vapour coming out of the back of the Ford GT. Right-hand side exhaust area. Now, Westbrook will have to be careful now. Made contact there. It is a Ford in 3rd position, but it's back down the road just a little bit. Bamber went wide, but it's still his corner at that point.
Yeah, that's all fine. That's hard racing, isn't it?
Oh, it's all right so long as there's no puncture, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
Because at that point...
I agree.
He's not really there, but he still presses the situation. Same part of the track, next lap around. Same response. Tell you, who is the fly in the ointment here, Jeremy? It's the Corvette.
Yeah, he's
coming up behind
again.
them.
He's closing in, isn't he?
And this is Ollie Gavin, who's already dealt with Joey Hand. And now he's got the 2 leaders. Now he's only 1 lap off the lead. Now I know there's only 8 minutes left, but a lot could happen here. And Ollie Gavin fighting his way through here. Now who does that help? Surely it would help Bamber to start with, but then again it might help the Ford. Don't forget Westy used to be a Corvette driver, as did Ryan Briscoe.
53 is now being the lap times for the race leader. You won't care about that, but look, side by side here they are again.
Touching again. It's very forceful indeed, but Bamber holds on. Can Westbrook go around the outside again? No, he can't. That's where it's got to happen, Jeremy. Oh, a little stumble on the curb for the 912. Now he'll have to take the inside line all the way down No Name Straight into... Oh, there's a big push on the back there from Westbrook. That was the bump and run manoeuvre. Didn't come off there.
Just letting you know, just reminding him I'm here. This is great stuff. I love it. There is no quarter asked or given by these 2.
Joey Hand's going to win this. Oh, Bleekemolen's off. Bleekemolen is off from 4th position. Pat Long was right with him as they went across the line. In fact, they were all right behind Bill Oberlin. Bill Oberlin's gone through in 3rd. Bleekemolen was already down to 4th as they went across the line, and that was the exit of Big Ben. Same area that we've seen the Porsche and the Ford clashing. And he's overrun it again. And here are the 2 battling for the lead. Same part. Same track. He's got the line this time, and he's gone through. He's gone through, and Ford will go on to win the race. Surely from here.
The
2 BMWs ahead.
1 lap down. And number 3. Yeah, Colin De Filippi has really fallen back in the recent stages.
somebody's hit the tyres again at the top of the hill. And the two leaders trading paint yet again. It's not the worst thing for the championship, of course.
That was a brilliant move by Westbrook. I mean, he just used the better tyres, Michelin tyres on that 67 car, get a good jump off the left-hander to make the move into the right-hander.
Bamber's thinking championship. Bamber's thinking championship. He's let the Corvette go as well. He knows he's got nothing for the Ford. So it's Westbrook that will win this. Second place is what the 912 wants. He knew he couldn't fight any longer.
Yeah.
And this is sound manoeuvring from Porsche. They're going to get second and fourth. They'll hold on to the manufacturer. They've all but won the manufacturer's title. And the Bamber and Van Thor team will move further ahead with the number 3 Corvette sitting down in 5th position. It will still be a battle for the Drivers' Championship between Bamber, Van Thor, Tandy and Pele. But it's going to be a Ford win here in the last 5 minutes for the 67 car, still in its heritage colour scheme. There's all kinds of damage, mind you, on the front of that car from the push and shove that we've had at the front of the field. Quite a bit of damage on the right front of that car. Big hole in the front of the Ford.
And number 66 car that's not too far behind. Was it? It was awfully close there with number 91 car, wasn't he?
Yes. And when he rejoined, he'd already been off at Big Bend. I think that was the problem. He'd already put his left side tyres off at Big Bend, tried to defend up the inside to the number 91 of Matt Campbell, who was saying, mate, you've been off the track. I'm coming around the outside of you. The little tap on the inside. And Blake Mullen was the one who came off worst there.
Game on in second position though now, or yes, third position I should say in GTD. Oberlin, Long and Campbell absolutely nose to tail. Then a big gap back now to the recovering car number 33, who's actually only just ahead of Jack Hawksworth in the Lexus.
Connor De Philippi in again with 3.5 minutes to go.
Really been struggling last few laps. He's fallen back at an enormous rate. The tyres just completely fell off the cliff there for De Philippi.
Left side tyres for Connor. Pfaff. And that's a Porsche leading. Olsen leads from Farnbacher. Olsen leads from Farnbacher. That's happened in traffic as well, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And that was just a moment or two ago. I think it was the Lamborghini that was involved. Yes, it was. The number 11, Andy Lally, just getting the leader offline, and that was, and with the BMW diving into the pits at the same time, a little lift from Farnbacher coming out of turn 7 onto the front straight was all that Olsen needed. What a debut here at Lime Rock Park for Dennis Olsen. And Pfaff could be on the way to the top of the podium.
And the Patrick Long is up into third position as well. Fourth position.
Only his second IMSA start for Dennis Olsen. He drove with this team at Daytona. And by the way, Westbrook's cleared off now. 5 seconds, the lead. So he can cruise now. The interest is whether Joey Hahn can pick up the pace a little bit. He's only got 4 seconds to catch on. But I think they're both in the same kind of tyre trouble, to be honest, because actually Joey Hahn was in a few laps earlier than Bamber. There's no other battles other than for left rear only for Blake Mullen in the pit lane. That's going to drop the 33 down. So the battles are on for Bill Oberlin is still defending Pat Long, which is now for the last step of the GTD podium, of course. That's the blue and yellow number 96 Turner BMW. Nose damage on the 67 car will not affect it. Ollie Gavin's right there, though. It's not 4 seconds now, by the way, between Bamber and Hand. It's nothing like that. There'll be at least another 2 laps, Jeremy. As the leader crosses the line now, there's 1.5 minutes to go. So white flag the next time around, and it could yet be a Ford 1-2 here. Ollie Gavin has, I think, decided not to try and unlap himself here, as Catherine Lake comes in and will end her stint behind the wheel in the pit lane.
Game on in GTD, where the
GTD runners about to come through, I think, Jeremy. No, in fact, they're just going through the right-hander on the no-name straight now, and it's still Dennis Olsen, just his second IMSA outing. Good battle across the line there for a Corvette. That must have been Tonio Garcia. Ah, yes, he was putting a lap on Connor De Filippi, that's fine. There's the leader going through, and the white flag is out. It's a win for Richard Westbrook, but who's going to be second? Earl Bamber goes across. It's just 1 second between the Porsche in second position and the Ford in third, and there is traffic there as well. There goes the battle across the line for GT Daytona down in the first corner, but they're not close enough for that to change, at least at the first corner. Ford have done it the hard way. 1 extra pit stop from all the cars behind it, down to fifth position in class, side by side for the lead, and a huge slide for the GTD second place car, Mario Farnbacher, as Dennis Olsen would refused to give way, and why should he? The checkered flag is in hand. It's going to be the 67. Chip Ganassi. They take the Northeast Grand Prix Ford win at Lime Rock. There goes the Porsche and just holds on by half a second. Earl Bamber increases his lead with his teammate Lawrence Vantour at the top of the GT LM category, and coming to the line. It's a drag race. It's going to be Porsche, but only just in GTD. 0.010 of a second. Absolutely extraordinary. Shea Adams with celebrating teams.
Down here with Ford, it's a very big celebration for these boys, and especially for Ryan Briscoe. It's his home race, so it means a little bit more to win this one. Ryan, winning at Lime Rock, what does this feel like?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, this place is just so tough. It's a real bull ring. It's physical. It's just hard on everyone, and especially with this heat. So, yeah, we went in with a plan and just executed it beautifully, and just can't thank everyone on the team enough. You know, Ford, Chip Ganassi Racing, and obviously Rick did a phenomenal job there at the end.
Yeah, you guys kept it in. It was just under a year since your last win, so a bit of a drought going in. You think this new livery might stick on the car for the end of the year now that it's a winning one?
I think we should, and hopefully this turns things around for us a bit, and we'll win a few more this year. So just stoked for everyone. Thank you.
Your dad said you weren't very happy this morning. I bet you're a lot happier now.
Yeah, no, I didn't get the most out of it in quals, but you know, we had this strategy locked down, so awesome stuff.
Congrats, Ryan.
Thank you.
Had the finish line been maybe 50 to 100 feet further down, I think that would have been a win for Farnbacher, but it isn't, it wasn't, and it's Porsche and Pfaff Racing with Dennis Olsen, who takes the victory in just his second outing for the team. Couple of slowed down laps here because of the short nature of the track and for people still finishing their laps, and that will be a couple of sweet laps for Richard Westbrook, who was really, really upset after Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The two Fords still smoking from the overflows and the heat from that engine. First and third, Joey Hand coming back after his bout of sickness, remember, as well. Just before Le Mans, he missed a couple of races, and he comes through in the most grueling conditions. He drove beautifully, Hand, to third position. Porsche today got the strategy wrong. They had the cars to win the race, and they got the strategy wrong. Let's go down to Pfaff and to Zach Robichon, who started the race for the number 9 GTT winners.
IMSA race winner now. Congratulations, Zach. How hard was that fight?
I think, you know, Dennis did an incredible job at the end there. It was pretty hairy at the end, and we just, you know, he did a fantastic job working his way through and took the opportunity when it was presented, but at the same time drove a really smart race. So I think it was long overdue for the Pfaff team, so it was great.
How long is it going to be before you can breathe normally again?
I'm relatively calm right now. I don't know why, but that's probably going to change pretty soon.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Whew. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. Let me give you the rundown. This is unofficial and subject to post-race tech, of course. Porsche win GTD, Dennis Olsen and Zachary Robichon for Pfaff. by 0.010 of a second over the Acura number 86, the Mario Farnbacher Trent Hinman car that was on pole position. Bill Oberlin was 6 seconds further back, and he's on the podium with Robbie Foley for the hard-working Turner team, and that was by half a second. That's all at the end from Pat Long, who charged back past Matty Campbell and brings home the 73 Porsche for Park Place in fourth. Fifth for the Wright Racing car, Wright Motorsport car, and the top six, Jack Hawksworth hanging on to a top six position, although the first car off the lead lap. In GT Le Mans, Porsche had that race under control and they couldn't manage to get the strategy to pay off for them. They finish up second and fourth, but the right car in terms of the championship for drivers came to the fore. Third position for Joey Hand and Chip Ganassi Racing, who take 2 steps on the Northeast Grand Prix podium. Second, just half a second ahead at the end, Earl Bamber, who fought long and hard trying to hold on to that for the 912 team and for his teammate Lawrence Van Tour, who started the race. Richard Westbrook took over the 67 Ford GT. A different strategy from everyone else. They went 3 pit stops and they gambled that the tyre degradation, one of our Porsche keys to the race, pit stop strategy and tyres, we said would play a part, and they did. The tyre degradation of their competitors was too great. They had the newest tyres. They had the freshest driver. Westbrook didn't even get in till halfway through the race, and he brought home the victory that had been laid down earlier on by the rest of the team. Fantastic stuff. Ollie Gavin, one of the first guys over to congratulate his former Corvette teammate. Magic stuff. And Shea Adam is right there at the Ford team to try and get a word with Richard Westbrook, who is calming himself down. Doug Feehan in there as well, the team manager. Oh, sorry, that's not Doug. Doug had a yellow shirt on this morning, my apologies. Shea Adam is down there. That is a very, very happy team as he's joined by Ryan Briscoe. Shea Adam.
There's too many people down here, not even giving him a chance to take his helmet off, John. I think we're going to have to wait about 5 minutes before we can get a word with Richard Westbrook, just because there's so many people who want to congratulate him. It's been almost a year since Richard Westbrook's last win. You now have 10 wins in IMSA. Richard, you fought really hard for that one.
Yeah, it was, but Ryan made my day a lot easier. He did an amazing stint and got all the hard work out of the way early. So, yeah, we knew we'd finish on better tyres, and the car was just amazing. It really was. And, you know, sometimes it feels like we've got the slowest car on the grid, but we just did everything perfect today. The strategy, 3-stop strategy worked a treat. Just my teammates driving and pit stops by the crew. I just can't say enough about Chip Ganassi Racing and about this Ford GT. It's just, that was an amazing weekend. And yeah, I've got my dad here, first race in America, so that makes it really special. And yeah, you can talk to Ryan now.
Awesome job, Rick.
Shea Adam with the first interview there of Richard Westbrook, and thanks to our NBC colleagues for holding off there for a moment, but we are live, of course. You'll be able to watch their version of the race at 9:30 Eastern tonight. Jeremy Shaw, a quick roundup in about a minute and a half for the championship positions before we hand the PA back to Tony for the formalities, and we continue with Michelin Post Race Tech.
Well, in GTLM, Lawrence Van Toor and Earl Bamber, they will double their lead to 8 points now over their teammates Patrick Pile and Nick Tandy and Jan Magnussen and Antonio Garcia. They remain third in the points, but now 17 behind. In GTD, the overall championship now a 33-point lead for Mario Farnbacher and Trent Hinman. Yet another podium finish. Bill Oberlin and Robbie Foleywood finishing third today. They'll move up into second place, 3 points ahead of Townsend Bell, and Frankie Montecalvo finished last after that problems early on. In the WeatherTech Sprint Cup, though, that's really interesting. We've got Patrick Long and Trent Hinman and Mario Farnbacher all tied at the top there after 4 rounds with 116 points. 2 points further back will be Richard Highstand and Jack Hawksworth in the Lexus, and 2 points behind them will be Zach Robichon in the Porsche as well. So that's a tremendous battle that is ongoing. In GTD manufacturers, Porsche's way out in the front in GTLM manufacturers. In GTD, this will extend the lead for Acura now. 184 points to up into second place will be Lexus, I reckon, by 1 point over Lamborghini. The deficit from Acura to Lexus is 7, then 1 behind is Lamborghini. Whew.
Jeremy Shaw, brilliant stuff. Shea Adam, thank you very much indeed. 2 weeks away, we're on from one of our smallest tracks of the year to the longest. It is a big contrast because we'll be at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. The prototypes come back and they have to mix it with the kind of GT racing that we've had at Lime Rock here this weekend. So if you think that was fast and furious, imagine what adding another 10 or a dozen cars in a couple of different classes will do to that. It's been brilliant stuff. My thanks to my broadcast colleagues here, Shea and Jeremy, to Rob and to Tim back in London for getting us on the air, and to Keith and the rest of our NASCAR production teams up in Charlotte, as well as the whole of the NASCAR productions team who gave us the pictures on site. Take a breath, stay with us on IMSA Radio RS2. It's Michelin Post-Race Tech as we take that apart with your questions to hashtag MichelinPRT on IMSA at IMSA Radio, and that comes up next, live here from Lime Rock.